Set your butane torches to high and your expectations to low. Coming to you from the Cigar Cave in the hills of the Steel City. Get ready to get your fix. This is the Cigar Junkies Podcast.
Welcome to the Cigar Junkies Podcast.
The cigar show for the community, by the community.
A forum that talks stogies, booze, food, and anything else in the cigar lifestyle.
If you're looking for ratings, negativity, or an authority on all things cigars, you came to the wrong place.
Whether you like what you hear or not, please join the conversation and let us know by finding us
at the Cigar Junkies Facebook group
or contacting us at thecigarjunkies@gmail.com.
What's up, junkies? We are one junkie extra this week.
Yeah.
And it is very special because that extra junkie happens to be the one and only Storm Bowen of Cigars for Warriors.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you for joining us, buddy.
Well, thank you for having me on here.
Absolutely.
How are y'all doing this evening?
Really good. Right now, just very jealous of your beard. I wish that I had that much hair on any part of well, maybe not any part of my body, but I wish I could grow hair that long anywhere.
Yeah.
It took me a couple of weeks to get it where this is.
Just a minute or two. But there's some product in there too. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I put some oil in it when I'm done brushing it. When I got out of the Army, I always told my wife I was going to grow my goatee to my toes. And she didn't believe me. I did my best. It's, hides part of my big belly, but that's about it.
Tired of that shaving bullshit. And you could swat away flies with it, too.
Yeah.
That'd come in handy.
Well, it saves food for you later, stuff like that.
The flavor saver.
Oh, a hot dog. I forgot I had that.
you could have a whole brisket in there.
I have a hairless cat, and he's more like a dog, so if I do get food in there, he takes care of it for me pretty quickly.
Hey, that's all right. The only hairless one I have is this one right here. So.
That's me. I'm his Bigglesworth.
I've never wanted a cat in my life, and we got one, and he's pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
He thinks he's a dog.
Those are the best ones.
Mm-hmm.
I could throw him across the room, and he'll run back over and over and over.
Oh, really? That's so cool. I never... we had I despise cats. I have a serious problem with the little bastards. But my wife had a cat when we met. And I told her that, I'm not a cat person. And she said, well, then you can go. So I stayed and I became a cat person.
Hey, guess what? I like cats now.
Yeah. Suddenly I like this cat. And the deal was no more cats beyond that one, but we'll just that one. And man, she was cool. I got to give her credit. But I just can't deal with the smell of them. We changed the litter. We used the non-scented. We did this. I can just smell them, and it drives me nuts. I can't tolerate that stuff.
My first 2 deployments, I got her a cat on each one, thinking, keep her company and all that. Thinking they would die after a few years. I didn't know they lived that long. And both of them lived at 20 and 21 years old. And when they both died within a year, we had a Chihuahua. She was getting pretty old. And she wanted another cat, but she didn't ask for it. So I told her we would never have another hair animal. The hair part's what bothers me.
Yeah.
And she was very good at keeping it all clean. Anyway, so I started getting on looking for hairless cats. You're talking about some of the biggest scams on the planet. You have to be careful because these guys got it down like a science. Give me your money, and then you never hear from them again.
Oh.
So we found a lady in California, of all places, during COVID. So I was able to spend $82 for going and coming with my wife. We flew to the airport in Sacramento. She dropped off the cat. We stayed the night in the airport and flew back the next morning, all for $86.
Okay.
Wow. That's not bad.
It was at her $700 to ship them over. So
yeah, that might be a bit much.
$82. That really is a bargain. I didn't realize that was maybe the hair is extra, and so you're saving money. I know that's the deal my wife got.
Well, that was the airplane flight. That was the cat cost.
Yeah,
I'm too embarrassed to tell you how much I paid for that thing.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. So, where are you guys from? What area?
I was born in Lubbock, Texas, and as much as I don't like it, I keep coming back. I left a few times for college, and left for the Army, and then repeatedly kept coming back here. My wife was from Colorado, and She loves it here.
Is that
To me, it's a massive.
that's
Go ahead.
not West Texas, I don't think, right?
It is considered West Texas. It's top of the Cap Rock. It's in the middle between humid and snowy. It's a weird place. We get all 5 elements one day sometimes.
Sounds like
And
Pittsburgh.
if you like running mud, you would love it here.
And there you go.
Could be worse. Could be the dust in Amarillo. That's crazy over there.
We have significantly more dust than Amarillo.
Oh,
A lot of people think Amarillo is bigger than us, but we're quite a bit bigger. Plus, we stay open after 9 o'clock.
Yes.
Well, is that post-COVID?
I was talking before COVID. I mean, I haven't been to Amarillo in a long time, but Amarillo was a weird town. They would shut down at 9 o'clock unless you want to go to the strip club.
Yeah.
Then all 40 of those damn things are open.
Yeah.
40.
Oh yeah, dude.
All right.
Amarillo and Wichita Falls. There's nothing after 9 o'clock except strip clubs. Like not even
Yeah.
bars. If you want to go to the bar, you got to go to strip club.
So maybe it isn't that they don't want to keep everything else open. They're all just in a hurry to get to the strip club. You know what I
And
mean?
I'm sure there's a lot of backdoor business going on too.
I feel like I want to touch on that implication on the backdoor business with the strippers, and I feel like I don't at the same time. I don't really know.
Just read his hat and
just
yeah.
the tip, just a second.
his whole livelihood right now is being thrown into a backdoor business.
Hey now.
All right, don't.
If it only hurts
offended.
once, you're all right.
Yeah, you'll be okay, Brokeback.
Calm yourself. Wrong hat.
Well,
I don't judge.
there you go. We appreciate the open-mindedness, as it were.
I generally judge silently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been silent about anything in my life.
You know what? I can actually vouch that as long as I've known him, he hasn't been.
I've been silent but deadly, but not the same way as Storm.
Well, I went from military, and then when I went in reserves, I was joined the state for corrections and police, and I ran my mouth as much as whatever I wanted to say, especially when I started working at the training academy.
Yeah.
Then when I went from a military and paramilitary to a volunteer land,
Yeah.
completely different world. And I went from do this is going to happen in the other room
Yeah.
to, hey, I know it's going to take you 15 minutes, but in the next 6 months, could you get it done for me?
Yeah. It's yeah, no, dude, same thing here. I went from military and all that to I eventually ended up managing a crew of 40 union maintenance workers.
Oh, Lord.
You want to talk about your world changing? Hey, I need you to pretty please, if you could potentially, possibly, maybe do this. Oh no,
That's not my job. That's his. He does that.
yeah, that's
Hey.
another guy.
And by God, you can't lead by example in the union either. Because you're stealing money from somebody else.
I am actually currently the manager of a division of a steel mill that is entirely union. And as a white guy, I never knew what it was like to be racist against until I put the hard hat on that signified that I worked for the company.
Yeah.
I was immediately responsible for every wrongdoing that happened to every single one of those employees, whether they were there for 30, they could be there longer than I've been alive. And it's still my fault.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah. How didn't you know this? You've been here 6 months. How didn't you know that?
For sure.
I have too many friends who've been supervisors within unions, and they're all military. So, the military taught to lead by example. Guy can't pick it up, you go help him, do whatever. He told me, one of my buddies in Indiana, he said, for the first month, I almost got fired every day because I kept trying to help out.
Oh, yeah, no, it's amazing how you're expected to progress that. They're like, oh, we like guys with military experience. Meanwhile, we are not the best fit for that. Not straight
Nope.
out. Like you need lots of training to lead into it.
For sure. Well, let's talk about what we are smoking today, shall we?
Yeah. Let's do it.
It's time for the Cigar of the Week, brought to you by Leaning House Fine Cigars. The Leaning House is your destination for the ultimate cigar smoking experience. Whether you're exploring their wide selection of premium cigars, unwinding in their comfortable lounge, or enjoying live music on one of the most unique and intimate live music venues in the burg, the house has something for everyone. Do you want to try the stick we're smoking today? Stop by leaninghousefinecigars.com or visit Dave in Bell Vernon or Heidi in Brownsville. Wherever you are, make the house your home for premium cigars.
And this week, The Leaning House cigar of the week is the Crowned Heads Mil Dias Edmundo. It's a 5 3/8 by 52 with a Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, a Nicaraguan binder, and fillers from Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and Peru. So we got like a nice little melting pot going on in this stick today.
It's a whole lot.
And just for the people that weren't here whenever we were not live yet, what are you smoking over on your end, Storm?
I'm smoking the Hiram & Solomon CFW cigar called Live to Serve. It's the first one in our Synergy program. Our Synergy program is pretty cool. At least on our side it is. We basically have a manufacturer of a product, in this case a cigar, make us a showcase cigar where we approve it, disapprove it. Then our two marketing companies get together and design the bands, the box, all that. And meanwhile, they only sold to CFW official donation centers, retailers that have our drop box in it, have our signage, that do all the responsible things they're supposed to do. And then the cool thing about it is the manufacturer turns around, gives us 100% of their profits. We started as an example at the program when we entered the trade show one year, as an example. We start from there and then build it into a real agreement. Never in a million years thought the first guy would say, "Hell yeah, I want to do that." But that's exactly what happened with Hiram & Solomon. Eddie started the company in the first place to give back to charities that the Masons do. And then he really wanted to take care of us in some way. And literally 20 minutes after that, Robert Caldwell came to me and said, "Hey, me and my wife are wanting to do some of your charity." I said, "Well, let me tell you what Eddie's doing." And I, pulling this program on my ass, a week before, getting everything anybody do it. By the end of that trade show, we had 6 companies, and we decided that 6 to 7 was the maximum we would do with cigars, just because of the fact we don't want to overwhelm our generous donation centers who are buying each product. The cool thing about it, the stores themselves do not have to buy anything else. They don't have to contract. They don't have to buy any more of the company cigars they don't want to. They got to buy a minimum of 40 sticks. If it's a box of 20, it's 2 boxes of bundles of 10. It's 4 bundles. So it's super easy for a shop to really want to take care of the charity without investing too much. That makes sense. If it sells great, they'll order a bunch more. In some shops it won't.
So you're not Rocky Patel.
Too much.
You're not Rocky Patel. You're not going, okay, yeah, you can have our cigars, but you got to carry 150 different facings and build a new humidor.
Rocky or Perdomo or Tactical, any of this. I mean, I love Drew Estate, but you got just to get a Liga, you got to have 40, 50 faces and spending $100,000 a year.
Yeah, there's a significant cost of entry there, I would say. Before I get into my normal lowbrow shenanigans, I do want to say thank you for your service, and I really appreciate what you do for the people that have served this country. So thank you for your service, and thank you for helping the people that have served along with you. With that being said, I've got to ask, did you come up with the name Storm, or are your parents awesome?
Oh, it was my great granddad's name.
That is cool as shit.
And they came up with a lot of names for me. Growing up, Storm wasn't as cool as you think it is. But the only name worse than that would have been Susan.
Yeah.
Now it's okay. People are like, "Oh, I can remember that." So I don't mind it now. But like my sister, she got Misty Windy Dawn. They walked outside and there's her name out there. Mine, it was just a smorgasbord of names.
Yeah.
Anyway, it would take me an hour to just get them all out. So Storm was a lot easier, just saying.
Well, it's pretty cool. One of the biggest regrets that I have from my life is not forcing my hand when my son was born. His name is Aaron James Banks. But in retrospect, I should have pushed harder for the middle name Danger. Aaron Danger Banks would have been cool as hell. And awesome. I feel like I failed him.
I wanted to do Velociraptor. Sammy Velociraptor Hoffman.
Yeah, I'm with your wife on that one, buddy.
Oh, but come on. Like the Danger thing.
I can't even spell that, though. You got to be able to spell it, too.
I feel like he would learn how to spell it. So, like, that's the only one that really matters. Everybody else gets it wrong. He'd just be mad at him. Like, it's instant. You know.
But can you see him at basic training? The damn drill sergeant spelling his damn name out to everybody.
Oh, it'd be fun. They're just gonna call him Hoffman anyways. You know that. Like
That's true.
you were Bowen, I was Hoffman. He'd be Banks if he had been in. Like that's it. Like that's.
Well, that's pretty impressive. You got my last names right. You'd be amazed how many people get Bowen wrong. It's 4 damn letters.
It's not.
But I've been called Bone and
Boney?
Bonet, all sorts of shit. Jonathan Drew, known him for 15 years. Whenever I get on stage with him or something, to this day he still calls me Storm Bone.
Bone.
Well,
Dude,
if you were on a hockey team, you'd probably be Boner.
Oh yeah.
I've been called that once or twice myself. So
I feel like you probably earned it too.
Yeah.
But if you'd named your kid Velociraptor, he would have grew up to hate dinosaurs. Like it never works the way you want it to.
But that's fine. I would have enjoyed it, and that's what matters. Look, when you pop them out 3 at a time, you get to have fun.
My name's got me in more trouble I can imagine. And every racial thing you can imagine for Native Americans, I got called. Everything from Storm Bow and Arrow to Bowen 747 to Chief Bowen, Chief Bow, Chief Boner. I did get called Boner. I was by a senior football coach. That was a fun one to explain to my dad.
Well, I'm coming out of the bathroom. I've been called Thunderstorm before, so I don't know if there's any relevance there, but
little noise kicking. So I had something I was going to say, and it just eluded me completely.
Welcome to live broadcast.
Yep, gotta love it.
That
it's
is
always fun. There was words, there was something, and it just.
Well, so if you're not familiar with Crowned Heads, they are known for wines such as Four Kicks, La Imperiosa, Jericho Hill, and so forth. They're a premium cigar company committed to producing cigars of artisanal quality that are defined by a combination of excellent flavor, balance, and consistency. So formed in 2011 by John Huber, formerly of CAO, partnered up with Mike Condor to create the company, and they actually were originally made at Ernesto Perez Carrillo's factory. I fall subject to combining words off the sheet sometimes too. But one thing I think is really interesting about them is they're based in Nashville. So like Storm, when I saw that you were in Texas, I was kind of a little like, oh, you wouldn't, you think of Central America so often. You see Texas, and Miami makes sense, and you're like, there's no humidity in the parts of Texas that I've been in.
Oh yeah, there is.
Well, then the only part of Texas that has no humidity is West Texas.
Yeah.
Then you get to Dallas, Houston,
San Antonio,
South Texas, East Texas,
Jesus.
You just melt.
Yeah, it's horrible. I lived.
I hate when I go to Vegas. It's great because it's like going to Iraq or Lubbock. Everywhere else that has humidity, I turn to a little girl.
I think you might be the first person that's ever said that. Hey, I like going to Vegas. It's just like being in Iraq. It's a glowing review right there.
As warped as I am, it makes sense.
It is definitely Vegas is it's its own kind of war zone. That's for sure.
Absolutely, and the cigar industry is known for attracting a certain breed. So, you are among comrades here. We are all somewhat disturbed.
Oh yes.
Well, and the cigar industry within the hotel attracts every hooker you can imagine. Every year, it's amazing.
And just like that, my wife said we are not going to PCA next year. Thank you very much for that.
Oh, dude.
What was funny is I kept telling my wife, she's like, any of the hookers giving you the cards and stuff. And I said, no, they won't talk to me. She goes, really? That's weird. I'll go talk to one of the guys in the industry. I've had hookers push me out of the way to talk to whoever I was talking to. I'm looking at everybody, and I'm going, okay, that guy's fat. I'm fat. Okay. She's talking to me. That guy's bald. He has no hair. That guy looks poor.
Got my
that
attention.
Guy looks rich. So where is the deal? And so when she came with me the next time, my wife got hit on by a hooker, but they wouldn't talk to me. Finally, she asked one of the girls, she goes, well, he looks like one of the pimps here. I'm like, right, that's a reputation I need.
That's what it is.
Fat, bald, and poor. Really, that's my wheelhouse. I feel like I'd be popular in Vegas. All these years I've been reluctant to go. Meanwhile, I'd be the star shining in the streets. You see a lot of Monica Lewinsky cosplay during PCA week. Lots of girls with brunette wigs and walking around in pantsuits.
Oh, no, they're usually not wearing pants.
Oh, well.
Pants are usually not part of the repertoire.
I just figure it's part of the fantasy, you know. Some guys like, oh, I could do a Lewinsky.
I've been waiting for the Lewinsky cigar to come out.
Right? Like, how has that not been a thing yet?
Infused and just leave it at that.
Well, I imagine something along the lines of you go to file the paperwork, and then a Secret Service hit team shows up at your house, and you're gone.
I wonder, like,
Well, hopefully she was smart enough to trademark her name.
Maybe.
So what do you infuse it with, though? Like fish oil?
Damn. The views
Sardines?
of Samuel
I don't know.
Hoffman do not necessarily reflect the views of the Cigar Junkies podcast or Corey Banks or any of our partners or affiliates.
It was a question.
We got to get a
say
PO
that's what
box
you
to
do.
send the hate mail to.
Yes.
Send your hate mail to justatipcigars at gmail.com. He's like, he really did it. He read it. You're going to get customers, buddy. You be okay. This is pretty much our show. If I can make Sam exhale for a long period of time and hang his head low, I feel like I've done my job.
Welcome to the show, Mr. Perry. Thanks for stopping by. Moving on from my embarrassment. No, so he called. He texted me yesterday. He's like, "So we talking PG-13 or R?" And I was like, "You need to give me a call, bud." He's like, "What's up?" And I was like, it's not really either. It's kind of like the wild fucking west around here.
We're actually more comfortable saying things on the podcast than Sam is texting things to people, apparently, because he was like, "I can't even text you. You got to call. Make sure it's a secure line."
He doesn't want evidence anyway. It's pretty smart.
No. Always. Just let that be out there.
Which, by the way, why do cigar shops give out receipts? Every single time I've ever been asked, do you want a receipt at a cigar shop? I say no paper trail, please.
No.
Why?
And I literally say that. I don't need a paper trail, guys. Every time.
Yeah.
If you were really smart, you would come up with a POS system that has something to do with Target. So when the wife looks at the bank account,
I use my business account. So, and it's for I use it for hosting.
That is
when I buy cigars for marketing value.
Dude, he just gave
so
me
they get written off.
Great idea for the show.
Yeah,
because I get to make the receipt.
Yes, you
like
do.
Everything about the receipt, I get to control.
I like
think
the
I
meme.
might not have my logo on the top. It might be like small on the bottom, but
right.
the top of it's just going to be 3 circles
but
instead
it's billed
of 2.
to.
So like I can't be sued for infringement, but I'll have 3 circles up there.
Well, it's what shows up on the bank account that matters.
Target.
Yeah, and you can make it like the meme. You ever see the signs at the gun store? It says for $5 extra, we'll make up a receipt that says that says the number that you told your wife you paid for this gun.
Yeah,
something like that would go a long way.
Yep.
We're
now you do it with the Secret Service there.
Yeah. Wait, what? Why did you buy
ETF.
7 Lewinsky's? What the hell's a Lewinsky? They're fish oil pills, honey. Don't worry about it. Oh, that makes sense why the bag smelled like it did.
Yeah. Okay. Good job, Sam. You derailed us pretty well there.
I got him to throw his head back. Though.
That was commitment to a bad thing. Good for you.
It was a callback. All right.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
What branch were you in, Sam?
Air Force.
Is that why you never want to talk about your service?
I mean, he's already in the same position he was in the service, in the chair.
Hey.
Yeah, but he was on
Chair Force, right?
He's not under the desk though.
Yeah, that's all right. He gets reminded of his time in the military every time he pulls that little thing on the back of his boots, because you got to bend down and grab a hold of her.
You thinking of Marines again?
Oh, is that what it was? I thought. Oh,
not Army. We can't get that far down.
This isn't fair. I can't say anything.
And
yeah, I feel like
when I do.
Yeah,
I do surges, the veterans always have their branch on their cuts, and if I see it, even if the Army, I talk shit to them. When the Air Force guys walk by, I just say,
open Zoom.
I just tell them it's not worth it. Y'all go sit at the bar.
Oh yeah. Why you gotta be like that, man?
I enjoy shit talking. It's one of my favorite things in life, and I can't really do it when I'm doing the charity stuff. So,
well, anytime you're in Pittsburgh, shit talking is on our business cards.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much like step 1.
Yeah, we'll get you a Junkies T-shirt with your face on it. You can fit right in.
Yeah, my in-laws, my brother-in-laws are both one's Marines and one's Navy, and we do have fun, man. They get a little. They have the right sense of humor for it, but it's funny
Right.
because the rest of the family who's not military gets offended for them. So it's really fun to like watch this part of the family get mad and then this part get mad, and we're just laughing. Like, you weren't in. What are you getting mad about, man?
And they still probably respect them more than you.
I mean, I would.
Yeah.
Are y'all NCOs or officers or mixed?
Let's see. Well, my one brother-in-law, he just pinned on senior chief. So he's what, E8 in the Navy. I'm trying to remember the ranks for them. And then my other brother-in-law, I think he made E5 in the Marines, but I'm not sure. And then I got
NCOs.
Yeah. I think he made E5 because Marines NCOs at E4 or E5. I can never remember.
Army and Marines, you can have a corporal, or they can be specialists. They're specialists. They're not NCOs. Once they make corporal, they're still getting paid the same. They just under leadership, and of course, if you screw up as an NCO, there's no takebacks. That's why you got that E4 mafia. Those guys go down E1, E4, E1, E4 because they get in trouble, and then no one really gives a shit because they're the E4s or dumbasses.
Yeah, but well, hey, our mystery guest just arrived, so let's let him in.
We'll see if we can. Oh, there's some jumbling happening.
Mr. Dove.
What's up, guys?
How you doing, sir?
Not much. I figure I had to pop in and say hi to my good friend Storm.
That is a nice ceiling you got.
Hey, man, how are you doing?
I am here in the no humidity lands of Lubbock, Texas.
Well, God bless you. I want to send some of the humidity of Delaware to you.
Yeah, right?
No.
So, I obviously never wanted to cut into your time, but of course, Sam and I are more than friends. We do a lot
another broke back relationship.
Calm down.
So, obviously, Storm, I'm calling in because we had that little golf tournament today, if you remember correct.
Yes, how did it go?
It went better than expected, and I'm proud to announce live to you on Cigar Junkies, we raised $15,500 today for Cigars for Warriors.
Wow, well done, brother. That is the best result of any golf tournament we've ever done.
Awesome.
Well done.
Awesome.
And it sounds like you chose the right partners this year.
Oh, for sure. In fact, Peter already has the check in hand for $14,000 and another $500 in cash. And then the country club that I'm a member at after the tournament is donating another $1,000 in their name to Cigars for Warriors.
Very nice. And if any of them need receipts, you know what to do. Just
absolutely
get hold of Steven.
So we had a heck of a day, man. Everybody loved it. And just wanted to surprise you. And I couldn't, Sam and I talked earlier in the week. Sam's like, man, I think you should come on. And I'm like, absolutely. And so I wanted to see you face to face and tell you we had a hell of a day today.
Man, I'm proud of you. If guys that don't know, Mike just recently stepped way up on CFWs now. The social media supervisor, basically runs all the social media platforms. He already has a firm, and he's going to add a lot of his business principles to CFW. So I'm excited to see what kind of specialism we have. And he already taken over from Abby, who worked her ass off getting a lot of platforms built up. So I'm really excited to see it, and very proud of you, buddy. That's an amazing job. Like I said, I've done other golf tournaments where we were excited at $6,000. So you did very well, and you thought you would get more than 12. So
yeah,
kudos to you, brother.
Yeah.
What was the big selling point?
So obviously we have Dover Air Force Base is very close, but to be honest with you, the group of cigar guys and golfers that we have here, and retired military personnel, it's a no-brainer for them. I mean, we have lots of people playing the tournament. They'll smoke a cigar once or twice a year. They just want to come out and support our troops, and that's what it's all about. And it was we had people say the tournament was the best they've ever played in. So then they're ready to come back next year, and I'll start planning it starting in November again.
Oh, that's
smart
fantastic.
Yeah,
Well, I'd love
I
to
can't
talk to you
believe.
about more details offline and here, get
Yep.
some ideas. And I'm sure Trey's definitely going to want to reach out to you.
Yeah, oh yeah.
For y'all guys that don't know, we're building, we're calling it a golf experience, more than a golf tournament. Our senior vice chair, who I recruited for like 5 years before he came on board, he's runs a multi-million-dollar company. So I figured he'd be a good choice of business development for CFW. And he's done a lot of amazing things already for this golf tournament, which he told me about a year ago, and I didn't really buy into it too much, but it is already rapidly getting massive.
Good.
It's everything with spas for the women and dinners and all sorts of interesting things. A lot of celebrities. There's a community called the 100 Black Men. That's an entrepreneurial group. So we're very excited about it all. But the reality is your term is the most successful we've ever had by far, and hopefully we can get you to teach some of the other guys your tricks of the trade.
Absolutely. And then when you're able to get back on full ride, as Sam will tell you, I think you're going to have to make a visit to Pittsburgh, correct, Sam?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're going to have to swing by, bud.
Definitely. I think that, doesn't Tom Lazuka live in Pittsburgh?
Not that I'm aware of. We've got some cigar personalities around here. Probably most notably would be like Island Jim Robinson of Leaf by Oscar.
Oh, that's right.
Sam Lucia lives about 10 minutes away from me, who's now Stogie Bird, but formerly of Nub and Lucia Tobacco. So we do have some people in the area, but I want to take a moment to say congratulations to Mike, because I didn't think anybody would ever find a practical use for golf, and here you did. You did something
Pulled
good with
it off.
it. Good for you. I mean, it was always good for falling asleep whenever I needed something to put me to bed as a kid. I'd put the Golf Channel on, but hey,
So you're not much of a golfer?
we'll find out on Tuesday. I
Oh, yeah?
guess.
Well, my last time I golfed, I was on whatever, they brought us out of the hospital, a bunch of us road dicks, and the guy from the Houston, Texas coach, Gary Kubiak at the time, he grabbed about 20 of us and 20 nurses and put us on a bus and took us to Houston from San Antonio. Well, a lot of stuff happened, but the second day was a golf tournament with celebrities, and the celebrity paired up with me and one of my buddies was Jim McMahon.
Oh,
and,
wow.
by 10 a.m., he was shit-faced. But it was an absolute blast. I will say this. It was the straightest I've ever hit a golf ball in my life. Problem was it only went about 10 feet every time. So
Yeah. I don't know whether...
So the secret to golf is alcohol and cigars. That's really what the secret to golf is. And a good eraser on your pencil. That's about it.
That's why I'm
you got to have a
screwed.
beer girl, though, right?
Oh, we had a couple of them. Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Good.
You smoking anything now, Mike?
I am going to be shortly. We literally just got home. We hung out a little bit, some people. So we're actually I've got some friends coming over, and we're going to be lighting up. And I believe tonight it's going to be a Fuente Friday, I think.
Nice. Oh, that's right. You're an Opus guy, huh? That's right.
I am an Opus guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you gone to Vegas to the Fuente, Casa del Fuente?
Yes, sir.
Have you had their house cigar?
Yes, I have.
It is about the only cigar I would ever pay that kind of money for. It's like $35.
Yes.
And because my palate's only worth about $9 a stick. So anything over $9, I'm just gonna say that's a hell of a cigar and just walk on.
Well,
I
unless
used to have a lot of companies send me cigars all the time and say, "Hey, can you get on Cats and do a review?" And I'm like, "Dude, I don't do reviews." The guy that talks about he smokes a cigar, it tastes like a piece of leather from a cow out of Connecticut, eating a piece of grass in the North Range. I never could do that. And I only got 2 reviews. I say it's a great cigar, it's a good cigar. If I don't like it, it's a good cigar.
Yeah.
It's on the shelf, so it has to be good for somebody.
Yeah, that is
Right.
the
They're
junkie
like, "Oh,
motto,
that's
man.
great.
For
Do
sure.
those." I'm like,
Well, not only that, but if they're a sponsor of Cigars for Warriors, then the more expensive, the better. Because like a Steve Saka unicorn, that'd be like $50 to your foundation, right?
I wish. That's pretty funny. He did that. He was telling me, he goes, "Yeah, everybody says like Dorca, they're pretty famous building a very expensive cigar that didn't cost much. And just because the guy wants to go in there and buy the most expensive cigar.
Yep.
And that's how Dorca survived.
That's like
So
the
he said,
people
I'm going
that
to make a unicorn, and I guarantee I'll start selling the shit out of it. Dude, swear to God, I had 2 people hand me a unicorn within a month. It's like, y'all spent $100 on this?
you have better friends than me. It's like the people that put the gold leaf on the hamburger just like to make it the most expensive hamburger.
Yeah.
Right.
Do stuff just to make it expensive. Well, hey, I want to give.
But Sam,
I want to give
Sam,
Mike. Oh, good.
I did have a great cigar while I was out there, though. I did have the new Liga 10 today.
The Liga 10.
Yes.
I'm
Like the
jealous.
Liga
I
9, but one better.
held one.
Yeah.
Very good. Very, very good. Me personally, I'm a big Liga guy, and I think it's the best in the line. I don't know. I know they fermented the tobacco a little bit different, aged it longer, like 18 months longer than what the other Ligas are.
Oh, wow.
Whatever they did, it's a phenomenal stick. It is really good.
Nice. Yeah, I'm actually ramping up tonight. I'm going to try the Saka Squatch.
Oh,
I finally picked one of those up. So, but I was unable.
Well,
or
look,
Saka Con, excuse me.
I don't want to interrupt your interview with Storm.
Well, before you go, do a plug.
yeah.
Do your shameless plug. Who are you? What's your company? You take
all
it,
right.
man. You're here.
You can't even
So,
afford walls. You got studs behind you, man. Do yourself a favor.
Well, so I came home, right, and literally got a shower. And so the golf event's a full family event. So my son stayed home from school today to help out. My wife, my sister, a lot of the guys' wives all volunteered. So I literally came home, got a shower, and I'm like, so this is actually my outside work environment when it's all lit up and all. I got my monitor. This is where a lot of the magic happens throughout the day. So I can smoke and enjoy cigars all day. But who I am is Mike Dove. I own a company called Weekfish. I've been in business now for 10 years. We are a graphic design and social media company. We also build websites. And we work a lot with the cigar industry. Matter of fact, that pretty picture of you saw of yourself, Storm, on this ad is what we did. There's a lot of filtering. I'm not going to lie, but a lot of filtering. But I made you look like a stud.
I looked like about 30 pounds lighter there.
It was an old picture,
I gotta make
too.
you look good. You're the face of this thing, man. I gotta make you look.
Well,
good.
that's why when you see my interviews, they're always beard high.
And I get to work with great
pretty
people every day, like Sam, and his really excited to when we launch out his cigar lounge. And I really truly have a passion for what we do. My team, a lot of my team smokes cigars, and we just love what we do. So we work. We're heavy into graphic. We do a lot of graphic design. We work with a lot in the cigar industry, but we do a lot with a lot of other industries, including some NASCAR teams, some sports teams. We do some stuff with, and but yeah, it's great. I love what I do.
No, awesome. Thanks for thanks for swinging by, and congratulations to you and Storm on the success of the golf outing. That's awesome.
It is. It really is. It was it was very nice, exceeded my expectations, and now we just got to up the game for next year.
Yeah, now you got a number you have to beat.
Absolutely, it's going to get tougher.
Good on you.
All right, guys. Thank you for having me on, and have a great rest of the interview, Storm. I'll talk to you next week, Sam. I'm sure we'll talk this week. So,
yes, sir.
Well done, brother. I'm excited for you. Tell your family thank you. Tell your wife especially thank you for being a volunteer for us. Because I always tell most volunteers before you get on, talk to your spouse.
Yeah, absolutely.
If your spouse doesn't support it, don't do it. Plus, if your spouse joins you up, us guys have been married for 10, 20, 30 years.
Yep.
It's another thing you can do with your spouse that you may have lost over the last 10, 20 years.
That's a really good way of looking at it. I never thought of that before.
Yep. Yeah. And she does. She ran registration. They had the raffles pulled, tickets already pulled. So when people came in off the golf course, she didn't sit there for an half hour while we were drawing around. Just tremendous help. So
nice.
Have a great smoke, guys, and have a great weekend. And thank you for having me on. And, I can't wait to get up there and see you, Sam.
Salud, man.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, guys.
Well, this has been an interesting show for me because I can't talk about military service and I can't talk about golf. So
hold on, wait.
I've been out of my element.
I just want to write this down. The day that Corey said there was something he couldn't talk.
Well, there is something that I can talk about. I can talk about the news for this week. It's time for the cigar news, brought to you by Tom's Penworks. As a cigar smoker, you appreciate luxury. And as a premium cigar smoker, you appreciate handmade craftsmanship. And as a customer of Tom's Penworks, you'll appreciate the selection of custom-made, limited production items that you can show off to your friends. From handmade pens, pencils, bottle openers, cigar cases, and now custom rings, Tom will create something special for you or your loved one. Find him on the web at etsy.com/shop/Tom's Penworks. And as always, you can find the link in the description for this episode. I'm going to change the song behind there someday just to disappoint
like
you because you won't be able to pick on it.
I like it because it's terrible.
How about a little bit of like 5 Finger Death Punch or something to get your balls up?
That's going to be for the Cigar for Warriors segment. We're saving the hardcore stuff.
Perfect.
Oh,
Do you know, if you watch all their videos, they're almost 100% about the military.
I know. I love it, dude.
I thought you were going to say they sync up to the Wizard of Oz, something like that. Maybe not.
That would be even
you don't know.
but,
You don't listen to them, I take it.
Oh yeah. No, I very, very much so love. They're my favorite cover band, actually. I think.
What's the
5 Finger Death Punch?
Yeah, dude, they do a lot of covers.
Yeah,
they do a lot of really cool covers.
They do a lot of covers too. What's the one they did for the 22 for the Suicide? What was that song? I can't think of the name of it right now. But
I could have told you any day of the week. But
yeah,
they played it at Sturgis, and it was pretty sharp. They had everybody sit down on the grass unless you were a veteran. Yeah. And the rest of us just stood up and the whole song. And I don't get moved very often. That was pretty damn cool in the middle of a biker festival.
Yeah.
Well, we did play the clip about 3 minutes ago. I'm gonna add that SpongeBob 5 minutes later. This week, top on the news charts, we've got AJ Fernandez Cigar Company is getting ready to release its 5th blend under its New World line, the New World Dorado. Dorado means gold, and it is the name of one of the AJ's farms in Esteli, Nicaragua. He gave the farm the name because he noticed a golden tint to the soil. The cigar itself is produced at AJ's San Latano factory. The cigar is a Nicaraguan puro and has mostly tobaccos from the Dorado farm. The wrapper, binder, and some of the fillers all come from the farm of the namesake, and the cigars will come in 4 box press sizes: Robusto, Toro, Gordita, and Figurado, each presented in 10-count boxes.
I wanted to hit the Gold Jerry Gold as soon as you stopped.
I haven't made that yet.
That's why I was disappointed. I was looking for Gold Jerry Gold.
Well, whenever you learn how to operate any of this equipment and create some of it, then you can give me shit for it.
Like, I show up and I look pretty. That's enough.
This one's going to appeal to Seth Jones, I think. Yeah, Cigars, a brand made by Cigar Zona out of the Dominican Republic, is now distributed in the U.S. market by United Cigars. And it's headed to retailers. Yaya had launched at the 2022 Premium Cigar Association trade show earlier this summer. And last on the list, Favilli Cigars has announced its latest line, Ladrillos, or Ladrillos. I don't know. It's Spanish. Who knows? But it's Spanish for tiles. And it's a brand that pays homage to the artisanal handmade concrete tiles of the Mario Favilli, for whom the Favilli factory is named. Mario first opened the tile factory in 1915 and instantly began adding artistic quality to floors across Latin America. When completing his home in 1925, now the Favilli Mansion and Favilli Cigar Factory, Mario chose his favorite designs to adorn his rooms and walkways. This is going to be a 5x52 box press cigar, and the idea was that the geometric square shape of the box press was meant to bring light to the square tiles. Each cigar has a band that represents a different tile design using a blend of colors from the mansion's architectural color palette.
Well, look at you.
Yeah.
Dude,
that's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, it's a lot of
That's
filler.
the most out of characteristic of a cigar company.
Right?
Yeah.
Description I've heard.
It was a slow news week, and the thing we discovered a long time ago on this podcast was if we didn't have tent poles to keep us on topic, we would just be talking about the most off-the-wall random shit by the end of the show. So the thing that we did was we created like these 3 or 4 tent poles to use during the show. It was like, okay, 15, 20 minutes. Let's bring ourselves back in, get back on topic, and make sure that we're talking about cigars occasionally.
Yeah, try and actually have a set points where we have to talk about cigars occasionally on it, because it's the Cigar Junkies, but it has been the Marvel Junkies.
Jeff Goldblum.
It's a lot of Jeff Goldblum. Yeah,
Monty Python.
Oh yeah, shrubbery. Yeah, it's mostly
we want a shrubbery.
Yeah, we're here for fun, man. we like doing this. We like hanging out with everybody. It's a good time.
Once y'all start doing, man, I just been blank on that movie. Old movie,
Oh, let's get it.
medieval parody.
Medieval parody,
It's a medieval parody.
Yeah.
and it's not the quest for the Holy Grail.
What do we call it
Yes.
here?
Monty Python and Holy Grail.
Oh yeah, that's
First time I saw it was my senior year in high school. We saw it for English class, and I thought it was the most horrible thing I ever saw.
Oh, you didn't
I saw
get
it
the
about
humor.
I saw it about 2 years later again. I laughed for the whole way through, and my wife looked at me like I had, extra brain damage than normal.
Well, the one thing
So-
about that movie in particular, though, is up until recently when we streamed it for our kids to see how they would react to it. It was the first time that I hadn't seen it on a VHS tape that hadn't been bootlegged like 1,600 times.
Yes.
So the quality of the movie was always terrible every other time I looked at it. And even in like HD streaming quality, it's still not great because you could tell they didn't have a big budget, right? So, maybe the first time it was just the wrong copy,
True.
Which
It's like
one?
Napoleon Dynamite. I hated that movie first time I saw it.
Yeah.
And second, then I went to, you'll appreciate this. I went to ENOP, which is an NCO school leadership. And during it, for our 6-hour sexual harassment block,
Been there.
the instructor went on for about 30 minutes. Says, anybody got any movies? So first we watched Napoleon Dynamite. Then we watched one of my favorite all-time movies ever. And it's something I never thought I'd like, was Team America, the uncut version.
Oh,
And if you have not seen it, you have to see it
Yes.
at least once in your life.
I
Don't
that
show
would
your
be
kids that, though.
the Jewish version, or no, the non-Jewish
Don't-
version. Yeah.
that's what we play in my
Yeah.
house for 4th of July. So
There you go.
oh, that-
Team America?
yeah, that's our 4th of July movie. I get a
Wow.
bunch of buddies together. We play that, and it's just America. Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
When it came out, I was on a reservist and I was working with State. My
So
secretary thought it was Puppet Moose, so she took her 6-year-old kid to it. She's like,
Mm.
at the beginning of it, I heard Team America, fuck yeah. And she's like, I didn't hear that right. And then she's watching Paris get blown the fuck up and all this shit. She goes, this is so wrong. She laughed.
it's so
no.
bad.
The kids, that's the one time when it's okay.
Yeah.
Like when my kid was like 9 years old, he got bit like 3 millimeters from his eye socket by the St. Bernard next door.
Ooh.
And he went, shit. And he looked at me and he went, I'm sorry for swearing. And I
Nope.
said, buddy, that is the most appropriate
Yep.
time that you could swear ever in your life. You are covered, dude. You are good. That's the time. And
that was correct.
most people don't agree with me, but especially during the shows, I feel often like I'm a marketing genius. So if we could ever do a Cigars for Warrior stick for just the tip, let's just call it the fuck yeah with the American flag behind
Fuck
it.
yeah. Oh, Team CFW.
I can do that.
Fuck yeah.
Trust
that
me,
what the
I've,
excellence were?
we've had worse discussions than that.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
We're pretty much. I mean, Robert Caldwell, the original Mad Mofo, was a lot more racier, I guess is a good word of putting, than the original, than what it turned out to be Mad Mofo. I mean, it was some pretty fucked up names that only Robert Caldwell could come up with. As disturbing as my mind is, I couldn't go that far.
Don't challenge me, sir.
Oh yeah.
That is not a contest you want me to enter.
This is not the right crowd for
No.
that. This could end in problems for all of us. So I'm going to move on for a second. So is there any, since we're on the news segment, kind of, sort of, is there any CFW news, anything you want to drop, anything you want to tell us that's coming out or
Sure.
what you guys are doing?
I can talk about CFW for a few minutes. The biggest thing is our Synergy program, which launched last year. It's basically products with any kind of product that the manufacturers make one of their best show-off ones, and we sell it to our official CFW donation centers. For right now, we have 3 cigars that are out. First one came out was Hiram and Solomon, and it's Live to Serve, which has been our motto since year 1, 10 years ago. By the way, this is our 10th year anniversary. And Live to Serve basically engulfs everything, whether you're a volunteer, whether you're one of the troops, whether you're a sponsor, whether you're a supporter. It's all about serving those who serve. And for me, it's been a model for a long time. So that came out. It's done fantastically well. The second round has just come out again. Then the second one is Caldwell cigar, Robert Caldwell, and he did from the Long Live the King series. It's called a Mad Mofo. It is a phenomenal cigar. He made it a lot more complicated than the regular Long Live the King. Those sold out probably 7-10 days. Second batch is coming out very soon, hopefully. And then the last one just came out recently was from Ventura, which is owned by Cretec and Phillips and Kings and all those companies. It's called Slaughterhouse, and it's called the Operator. It's a part of the Slaughterhouse brand, the Operator, like a special operations guy.
Yep.
Where you're talking about Navy SEAL, you're talking about Special Forces, CIA, Rangers, whatever. And so I was giving credit to these guys. Pretty badass logo we came up with. In fact, I think I got the artwork here.
Oh, back it up just a little bit.
It is our economic cigar. They put it on that brown wrapper like Drew Estate does with My Uzi Weighs a Ton.
Is that a bandana or a hat or something? At first I thought, fuck,
it's a beret.
Even that skull has better hair than me. And I was like, I think it's a hat.
That's a army beret.
There you go.
So it took us a while, to, believe it or not, to come up with that packaging that we're really proud of. Here's the CFW for Hiram and Solomon. Yeah, as you can tell, it's very patriotic.
Hell yeah.
Then we got a couple other things out. We got the nub tool. It basically looks like a cigar. It's got a cap. Take it off and you nub your, stick it in the end of your cigar so you don't burn your fingers. Those are pretty cool. CFW. And again, all these things we're naming. Not only they're showcase products, that means they're good. They're more than worth the price. Is that the manufacturers are actually giving us all of their profits, not a portion of it, not 10% of it, but 100% of their profits go back to us. And that means they open the books to us. That's a lot of trust, a lot of respect. And so it's been very exciting to see this program happening. Because since 2016, when the deeming came out, basically there was one line in President Obama's Child Protection Act that said manufacturers of tobacco cannot donate products to charities. One line out of this long-ass document.
Yep.
And they hurt us, as you can imagine. We had probably 90% of all the manufacturers donating anywhere between 200 to 7,000 cigars a month. Like Famous Smokes, awesome. They donated every month between 5 and 8, 7,000, just constantly. Drew Estate was 2,000, and Drew Estate liked to write checks out too. So when 2016 hit, we just devastated us, as you can imagine. Because our first month, we had zero clue what we were doing. I mean, no clue. We're just a bunch of guys who trying to do a good thing. I was the only one that had any kind of 501c3 experience, and I helped build the Texas State of Ethics Council. But that was a lot of legal stuff, where this was more straight up charity for people. And in the meeting we had, after we chose the leadership, because I wasn't going to do this thing, but one of our volunteers, our co-founders, Elaine Dibinato, came to me and said, we need to do this mission and do it right. And I always stuck in my head, she said, it's a beautiful mission. As simple as those two words were, it's what resonated to me. And I was still on injury status in the military. So I had to be extra careful because I wanted to stay. At 18 and a half, I wanted to finish my last year and a half out. Mm-hmm. So we started out, first meeting I said, we've got to have a slightly impossible goal. We're all doing the good way. We're all doing it soon. And I'm looking at everybody from all parts of this country, including a guy in Afghanistan, another guy in South Korea.
Wow.
And we were like, I'm going to do. So I said, we're going to do 800 cigars by the end of the year. And I got cussed out by everybody, 100% by the whole board. Like, where are we going to get the money? Where are we going to get the cigar? By the way, who the fuck are we going to send it to? That's why it's every possible goal. First month, we ended up shipping 860. So we broke our year goal in the first month. By the end of the first year, we sent out 92,200. And currently, we're at 1.325 million. cigars shipped out, a couple thousand pounds of coffee, cutters, lighters. There's been a Cigar Press magazine in every box since day one. A lot of other magazines have been in there. CI has done amazing things for us, including doing gift cards here and there for $100 a piece. They donated probably $250,000 in gift cards.
Wow.
So you can imagine, as a young NCO, you're looking at those League of Tens, going, "There's no way in hell I can afford them." But also, you get a $100 gift card. Now you get a chance of buying some cigars you never would have bought in the first place, or just buying a $100 box of cigars. So it's really neat seeing that come out. I mean, and just the strategies, everything moving along. And like I said, 2016 change, and we put a massive emphasis on our donation centers, our cigar shops. They all came through. Of course, COVID really kicked us in the ass, where we were finally getting a little bit of bank and some money in our bank, where it's actually sitting there for more than a month. COVID just wiped everything out, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Drew Estate came in, saved our asses, donated us for 3 years in a row, $50,000 each year. Then this year we're back to doing the Barn Smokers again.
Is that $50,000 from the Barn Smokers, or is that just, here's a check, we love you?
That was straight up, because there was no Barn Smokers for almost 3 years.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then this year, we've always done really good at Barn Smokers. They always did a $5,000 check, and then whatever we raised on raffles, which was always between $5,000 and $7,000. So it was always around $10,000 and $12,000 we did. This year, the first four, we did $30,000 to $32,000 on each one, and we still have the big one in Dallas coming up very soon, called the Savage Feast. So, Drew Estate really saved our asses a lot of, and don't get me wrong, there's been a lot of companies that stepped up. Alvante, which you may not be a fan of, some people, but when you're a soldier in the middle of nowhere or don't have a humidor to save your life, or Boveda Pack, Alvante cigars are phenomenal. Toscanos, which is part of that company.
Toscanos are great.
Your go bag, and they're always there. So they've done multiple donations of 30 to 60,000 cigars at a time.
Wow.
That's awesome. Storm, I'm going to ask you to pull a number out of your ass. Do you have an idea on average how many cigars that you guys are actually able to provide on like a yearly basis?
Depends on which year you ask. For a while we had to cut way back on the numbers to keep up with the request. We're back up to around 30 sticks a box. We used to be at 50 before 2016. Next month we'll probably raise it to 40. By Christmas time we'll be back to 50 for each box going out for the troops. So pre 2016 it was easily over 100,000 a year.
That's incredible.
Post 2016, 2017 was a horrible year. I mean, our first month, January 2017, we did 720 cigars shipped out. And you think about our first year, not having a damn clue what we were doing, was better than 5 years later knowing what we were doing.
Wow.
So that hurt us a lot. But, there's a silver lining and everything. Like I said, now we're able to put a lot more other stuff in the boxes. So we, may get an energy drinks, Ignite, which is a big company by, what's the Instagram guy's name? Dan. Big Instagram guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you think about that. I'm just going to jump out there and say, as a civilian, one of the reasons that I love cigars so much is because it's cheaper and I think better than therapy, right?
Yeah.
It's just a moment to yourself or to share with, somebody that is interested in the same things as you, makes you slow down and just reflect on things and be in the moment and just have a moment of stillness almost. And if that's something that myself, as somebody who's never served, can appreciate, can imagine how valuable that is for somebody that's overseas, away from their family, facing dangers for the rest of the people in this country. And just that that pure moment to just be outside of everything else and to kind of have that to yourself. It's an amazing thing that you guys do, and we're very happy to have you here to talk about it.
Yeah,
But you go ahead, Sam.
So one of the things, so I worked with a construction battalion in the military, and we were in Kandahar, and pretty much all the memories that like my fondest memories of being over there, we built a pagoda, like an actual a gazebo, like a full gazebo on over in our area, and then we fork trucked it over to the barracks that we were staying in, which eventually didn't go over well because this thing was like 15 or 18 feet wide. And it stood like 17 feet tall. It was just this big, beautiful wood gazebo that we had built, just free time, right? And the best memories I have is just sitting there, and the whole middle of it was just an ashtray. And it was just everybody sitting around, smoking cigars, smoking cigarettes, and, well, everything except vaping because that wasn't a thing yet. But sitting around and just enjoying not being anywhere else. Like it was
What year was that?
That would have been 2009, I think, is when we built the gazebo. I think they made us tear it down before 2010, but I was there 9 to 10. No, they actually had a good reason. It legit was a fire hazard.
That's where I was, especially the big ashtray in the middle.
It was definitely a fire hazard, and from their perspective, at the time, and probably for two,
you couldn't find a cave. You couldn't find a cave or anything around Kandahar.
No. I'm talking about when we were actually on base at Kandahar Air Base, which is a monstrosity of a city.
Yeah. We would go there to get our pay. We get some extra pay money and stay there shortest time as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, you're driving like bats out of hell to get there, breaking any kind of normal driving law, and then you get to Kandahar and some guy's pulling you over trying to give you a speeding ticket. First time that happened, I threw it out the window and I got called into the general's office the next day.
What years were you there?
Iraq was the invasion. Well, post 9/11 for 6 months, Afghanistan, as you can imagine. Then 2003, technically 2002, we were waiting to cross the berm. 2003 went to Iraq. Left there 16 months later. Went back 2006 to Iraq. And then Afghanistan was 2007, almost back to back. I had 3 months intermission.
Yeah.
And that's when I got shot up. I didn't like the Afghanistan mission. I'll be truthful about it.
So were you around Wolverine? Where were you at? And what was home base for you guys? Was it Wolverine?
Well, we called it Cobra, but for what I know, after we left, it didn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
It was on the Pakistan border area, way up in the mountains. In fact, they were shipping off engineers left and right for altitude sickness.
Yeah.
Engineers, we loved engineers, and we loved our medics and commo. Those are two guys you always take care of.
First person I ever met that loved their engineers. I hate them. They do not put any consideration into
different
the people.
engineers.
Yeah, fair enough.
I
told you I don't fit into this conversation.
When you take a piece of land and they say you're going to live here, and you're like, but how?
Yeah.
And then everybody looks to the engineers like, I got some ideas, and
I hate the guy.
They're not always good ideas, but they're ideas.
I hate the engineers that are like, oh no, to change out the battery, you're going to have to remove the air intake on your van. Or the guys that are like, to change the light bulb in your headlights, you're going to have to reach through the wheel well to unlock the compartment after you remove the grill. Those are the engineers that I don't care
That
for.
is normal base life in the States, especially Fort Hood.
Yeah.
Fort Hood is the most, I live close to Fort Hood. It is the most psychotic base on the planet. You have to wear a Kevlar helmet even in your civilian car.
Yep.
And it gets even better. You got to wear your safety belt that you used to have to wear only on your motorcycle. You have to wear it in your Humvee or your civilian car. That one just boggles my mind.
It might be a thumbnail.
Every horror story you can imagine, I ran into at Fort Hood. I probably got out of more insubordinations and Article 15s you can imagine in one visit that anybody's ever been presented. It was just beyond me, the insanity of the rules. Small rule. you go to NBC class, you go to ammunition class, and they put it on one card for go back there to draw ammo, draw my little area we're going to stay at, and the guy gets mad because I'm supposed to have 2 cards, and they're not supposed to be laminated now. Well, why is your driver's license laminated? Well, I just left Iraq where everything's sweated, just dissolved.
Yep.
Oh no, you can't have nothing.
Come on, man.
That's just silly, stupid shit like that. You're like, you gotta be joking. We're in the middle of a combat war, and you're worried about that. So I said, let me talk to your supervisor. Oh, he's gonna tell you the same shit. So I go there. I was like, dude, I just joined the reserves. They asked me to take over this whole training session for 3 weeks. You got to draw ammo. I did your stupid classes. And I said, you know how I'm looking around his office. I see all these Vietnam pictures. So I'm like, all right, now let's think of how a Vietnam guy thinks. Yeah. So you know how it was in Vietnam. You know, the combat guys, you can't have paper on you. 1, you can't get it taken away, but 2, it's going to dissolve. Because you just sweat on everything. He goes, yeah, I understand. You know what? Fuck it, just get the shit and get out of here. It's like, so I got in front of the guys like, told you to tell you to get out of here. I said, yeah, he told me to get the shit and get out of here. So I hook us up.
Yep. Yeah, it always amazed me the difference between base life and deployed life. Like it's so ridiculous how, polar it is. Like you actually, in a way, want to be overseas more than you want to be home. Because being on base there, come do your job and go home. Where you get back home and it's don't walk on the grass. My brother and I, when I got back from Afghanistan, we went on a motorcycle trip. Left here 2 months, we lived on our bikes and did a big loop around the country. And he's like, hey, I want you to see Wichita Falls. That's where he went to school because he was a crew chief, KC-135 crew chief. So we're sitting at the BX there and we're trying to eat. And excuse me just 1 second. I think we might have a technical issue, guys.
Technically, we don't have a guest anymore, is what it looks like.
Yeah.
So,
just 1 second. Do you want to go?
I got him. He's coming.
Cool.
It's what I get for changing screens. I change screens. I think I'm safe, and then you just, Sam likes to call it bird walking. You bird walked off to somewhere else.
Yeah, I was in a different land for a minute.
It's a good cigar you got there, I guess.
But yeah, so we went to Wichita Falls because that's where he went through training. So he was there for 4 months. And we're sitting in the BX and we're just eating real quick. And this kid comes up to me and starts giving me shit. Now, I just got home. I'd been home like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And he's giving me shit. Now I'm dressed in jeans, t-shirt, leather vest, like the whole biker get up, right? And this kid's giving me hell because I got a beard. And he's an E1. And I'm sitting there and I'm eating. And my brother's just looking at me like, are you going to acknowledge him or not? Like, what's the deal? I'm like, dude, I'm on leave. I want nothing to do with any of this stuff at all. Because I got, Billy Boot Camp sitting here giving me shit about my facial hair. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? And finally, I'm eating and I didn't stop eating. I just leaned forward. I grabbed my ID. I set it down and I just slid it over. And he looks down at it and he looks at me. He looks down at it and he looks at me. He's like, sorry, Sergeant. He just turns around and runs away. My brother goes, what the hell was that? So it was a kid realizing he's talking to somebody that might know a thing more than him, where he thought I was another basic trainee who was living on base. And he started giving me shit about my facial hair. Dude, what are you doing? Like, this dumb stuff. I understand in basic training, it is important.
Quit looking at yourself.
And, I'm trying to, the framing is screwing me up. But like, you got it in training. It's important to have these ridiculously tight rolls, but bro, we're done with that. And we left and I was bitching about it. My brother goes, you understand this is a training base, right? And I was like, yeah, I guess we're here because you were in. Okay. Yeah. But like the way the basic, you get there and then you go back, overseas and it's like, oh shit, I forgot my reflective belt. Just keep rolling, man. Like, as long as you weren't wearing the pink reflective belt, was that a thing for you guys yet? When you were there?
I never heard of it until years later. I still thought it was a joke.
No, I actually found out it was not. She was wearing a pink reflective belt, Proposition and Gentleman, and she was selling them condoms for $150. You could use them for free.
Well,
Come to find out, that was a thing.
It's like
Well, I
Monopoly
know in
money.
Camp
Man.
in Kuwait, what's that? What's a Arab John? Camp Arab John. Behind the supposedly movie screen, we never saw a single movie. There was a little alleyway, like 3 foot wide, like 100 yards. When you ever walk down there, you got to be careful because condoms up and down that thing.
I heard the same thing was true in Qatar. There was a space too. I never went and checked. I never had to go.
And
back
where?
there. In Qatar.
In Qatar?
Yeah.
See, here's the difference. You want to know, Corey, about Air Force and Army.
Well, here we go.
I knew it.
All right.
I didn't want to bring it up.
Well,
get
you
my
brought
pen.
it up. You brought up Qatar, so let's talk about it. So I'm
That's
in
when
Iraq.
he
I've
knew
been
he
there
had
16
fucked up.
months. I made sure my guys all went on their 2 weeks. I didn't take it. I cussed out a 1-star, so General Petraeus said you didn't get the fuck out of it for a while and cool off. So I go to Qatar, a couple, full plane. We're taking off on combat. You got to imagine C-31 taking on a combat. It's just straight up in the air, and you got shit blowing off around you.
Yep.
And so you get really close to the two guys on either side of your parachute seats, your jump seats, excuse me. And we get to Qatar, or Qatar, didn't know who you want to talk to.
Right.
And we get in these big giant tents. We put us in mattresses, bunk bed mattresses with an air conditioner. We're in heaven. So we've been living on the fucking ground. We've been living on, we put cots together off think of camping, but worse. That was, for 4 years before KBR got in place. And so we're in Qatar. The next day, we signed up to go get a pedicure, manicure, and a massage. This is how rough the Qatar guys got it. Now, we're getting combat pay for Iraq.
Yeah.
Air Force guys are getting combat pay for the place I was going for 3-day R&R. And Air Force has a pay that no other branch has. It's called poor living conditions pay.
Yep.
They're living in a hotel in Qatar getting poor living conditions pay because the maid only comes once a week to get the trash. It's a true story. And they're only allowed to have 5 beers a night.
Oh.
Now, while I'm there, I can only have 2 beers a night.
It's 3.
And would you
got
spend?
3. We got 2.
It was 3.
Would
And
you
we had to
spend
pay
that
for
money
it.
on lots of $150 condoms to use in your pagoda?
No. What you did is you made buddies that didn't drink.
Oh.
And you spent all that money on that. So you got your 3 beers, then his 3 beers, and his 3 beers, and you went back and and after a year of not drinking at all, 9 beers. And that German beer they had there was actually really good. I'm trying to remember what it was called.
I did the green beer. And I don't know what the hell it's called either, but I got one of the 2 guys, he was an old guy, he didn't drink either, ex-alcoholic, but he gave me his 3 tickets, and I actually gave the other guy 1. So I had basically 4 beers, and I was pretty buzzing.
Yeah.
Now we're the only, now my MOS was the only MOS general order exempt, so the whole time in Iraq, we're buying alcohol from whatever Haji. And everybody tells you Muslim countries don't drink, they don't smoke, they don't, whatever, they're full of shit. They're just like any other Baptist,
Yep.
They go to church, and when they're not going to church, they're doing all the shit they want to do.
Yep.
So we drink, we had whiskey all the time. So we're in Qatar, and this is the best part. Go in there and get my massage. Now, I'm sitting right before I get in, and you're hearing this guy in the background like, fuck, you're killing me, bitch. Just yelling it out. And there's like 100 of us. There's 100 guys that are waiting in line to do all this stuff. Never in my life had a pedicure. I thought she was going to tear my feet off. And so I go get this. I'm about to get in line. This hot little Filipino girl walks out. And she calls the number. I think it's mine. I'm all excited. It's a young kid that went with us. He goes back with her. He's all smiling. And about that time, the old guy in the back, you hear him stop cussing. And here comes this large woman. I mean large. No fat. And I've never in my life seen gold tattoos up and down her arms. She calls my number. I was like, oh, God. So we get back there, and she's popping shit that has no business being popped. And the only English she knew was, you okay? Okay. Didn't matter what the hell you said. She said, okay. You okay? Okay. Kneecaps have no business ever being popped. Elbows. I didn't know you could pop an elbow. Ears. But I will say this. I was in misery. The next day I felt pretty damn good. So now I'm in a really bad mood because the young guy comes out and goes, "That was the best hand job I ever had in my life." And I was like, so we go now again. Remember this, Corey. This is where they're getting combat paid.
Yep.
We go to the swimming pool.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
At the end of the swimming pool, there's a Chili's restaurant, not a tent, but a perfectly built Chili's restaurant, just like you would see in the States. And their combat area, and their poor living condition area. So we're chilling out, and we have been extended and extended and extended and extended. This kid is yelling, just griping to his buddies, "I got another month of this shit." So we're thinking, he knows something. He's at the pool. It's got to be one of us, guys, right? So I said, "Come here, kid." First off, he gets smart ass with me. He's like, "I'm not a kid. You call me by my rank. I'm a specialist." It's like, all right, well, you can call me first sergeant if that's what you want to do. Then. So then he got real appropriate very quickly.
And changes
so,
so fast.
So what? Yeah. What do you mean by a month? He goes, "Well, I've been here 2 months. We do 3-month tours. And this place is bullshit. I have to go find this trash every single week because the maid only comes to our apartment once a week." I have no idea what my expression is on my face, but the two guys on either side of me who don't really know me too well, both of them grab my arm on either side. And they tell the kid, "You better leave right now."
You should go.
So that's when I learned about the differences between Air Force and Army. Now here's the secret. Our Air Force gives a shit about their people.
Yep.
Didn't work.
So take all the money that Congress gives them, puts as much as they can for the troops. Then they go back and say, "Hey, we need shit for our planes to rock." The Army is, they go buy as much shit from the lowest bidder as possible.
Yep.
And if $7 is left, they give it back to the troops.
That's
And then the Marines get all the stuff that's broken that we got for $7.
They did. The Marines get screwed. The Seabees, man, I worked a lot with them hand in hand, and they got just junk. They'd be constantly over, "Hey, you got this part? You got this part?" What do you mean? It got to the point I'm like, "Why don't you make a list each Monday and I'll order you the parts?" "What? You'll do that?" "Yeah, like we're all here for the same reason, bro. Like I'll just order you the stuff and you can go fix it." So anytime I needed anything from them, they were on it. And then the Canadians, that's where I got all my beer while I was in country, because I made friends with them. Because the barter system that goes on over there. Like the Red Horse had the red hats, so like I would trade red hats for steaks. I would trade we had a hydraulic shop. We had a full hydraulic shop on base. So I'd make hoses and just hand them out. Here you go. And then whenever I needed something, I could get, it was a nice give and take, but a lot of my give and take was definitely alcohol related. And then we this is going to sound like the most Air Force thing you ever heard. We took the back of a Connex box and actually built a false back in it, welded in a false back, and made it so you could slide it out and turn it. And we put a still in the back of it. So we actually had a still going for probably 4 months.
And Corey, you need to understand that the Air Force does all the inspections for customs.
Mm-hmm.
So did his still ever get found?
Nope.
Hell no.
What still?
Well, no. So that Connex was actually what we used for parts. That was our parts storage, because I was vehicle maintenance. So like we used that as parts storage. Never did it get found. The problem was when we were leaving, I was on the Advon and the Rearvon team for that group.
The Avon team?
advanced opening, and then like the first team there and the last team that leaves. And I'm handing off to the Advon team for the next one, and I'm just like, I'm just not gonna tell them. Like I don't know what to do here. Like we have a still, nobody told. I expected it to be gone. So like I go in at like
you put that on the TOA, the Transport Authority. As part of your mission.
But I'm like, I don't know what to do here, because like I go in and inspect it like 3:00 in the morning the one day, like making sure nobody's there. I go pop it open. I'm like, shit, it's all still there. There's still gas in the tanks, like for the burners. I'm like, screw it. I'm not telling them. The one guy's like, why does this shelf move? He's like, all the other ones, that back shelf's fixed. And I'm like, dude, you're good. I'm like, meet me here tonight. So like 11:30 at night, I'm like, dunk, turn it around, slide it over. He's like, I said, yeah, you need to find you a boy from Alabama, because that's what we did. and he knew what he was doing. Every day, man, we'd come back from the chow hall, and it'd just be like, you just see the BDU pants just bulging with freaking fruit. Everybody just be coming back with piles of fruit. This guy was doing mash and everything.
Was it any good?
No, God, no, it was horrible.
All I
But it was great to
took away
us.
from that was you need to find a boy from Alabama and piles of fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I'm taking away
But
from
Don't
that
judge.
story.
But the
at all.
important-
Don't judge, bro.
Well, speaking of tent poles,
Hold on, what more?
Oh, fair enough.
What was the energy drink? I'm trying to think. It was those little micro cans.
When it Rockstar was everywhere I saw.
No, it was the crappy.
5-hour energy drinks.
No, I'm trying to think
Those
of what
were
it was.
pretty crappy.
I'll remember, but like it was small cans. 1 can of that to about 2 ounces of his hooch. Then it was good because you couldn't taste it. But that's why I could get away with 9 beers when I was in Qatar because I never stopped.
Well,
So-
in Iraq, I got punished for yelling at a 1-star general, General Bakinski, who was the one in charge of Abu Ghraib down in Iraq. The largest woman I've ever seen, and she's the only general I ever saw that had 2 aides-de-camps. Long story short, I told her some things I shouldn't have. And General Petraeus says, you're going to Unit Movement Officer School. We're having a abbreviated version, 16 hours long each day, so you can get out there in 2 weeks. I'm like, good God. So then I became the UMO for my whole battalion. I'm like, the only thing I got out of was Air Force does this. So every time we went back to the airport, basically the rear, we went to get cash. We would stop by the Air Force area, and I would bring them 4 or 5 bottles. Well, they're gone every 3 months. They literally put me on their transfer authority. So part of their interviews as they're leaving is interview us so they can keep going. Well, I didn't have to do a damn thing, no paperwork. We got the last intra-continental flight out of Iraq. Our customs inspection went very quickly, except my colonel was a jackass. I told him, just don't say anything, just shut up and stand here. He got mouthy to the customs guy, and I'm talking to this guy. I said, if you really want to fuck him over, that's his Connex. And you know he's got shit in there.
Oh, yeah.
So he opened that Connex and just raided it. Now, the rest of us got bayonets, we got bottles of booze, we got all sorts of trophies we're not supposed to have.
Yep.
So customs went very quickly. So the story of that is take care of your Air Force guys, because feed them full of booze and you get taken care of.
Oh, yeah. All right, we got to do the hit his tent post real quick. I do want to acknowledge the comments real quick.
yeah, go for it.
Tommy Elridge, hello, sir, from the Idaho Cigar Cartel. I'm not familiar with those guys. Are you? I know he's a member of the Junkies, but I'm not familiar with the Idaho
The
Cigar.
cartel?
Yeah.
Good guys.
Idaho.
Good guys. Been around since about 2015, 14.
Nice.
Specializes
media,
in
Facebook.
potato bombs.
Not quite. All right. So, and then Steve, no, it was not Red Bull. It was I'll find it while Corey reads off this next segment.
Listen
think
to
it was
my
5 hour
pretty
interview.
voice. And speaking of events, this Thursday, September 15th, Caseta Oktoberfest at the Blind Fox in Dormont, Pennsylvania. The event starts at 6 p.m. Ron Melindy, sales representative for Caseta Cigars, will be there. This event will be the national launch of the 2022 version of the Caseta Oktoberfest. I think Bill might have cheated there because, of course, it's going to be the national launch of the Oktoberfest when he does it in September, you cheater.
Yep.
And it's a cigar meant to be enjoyed with beer. Deals will be available on all Caseta cigars. Ryan Hirschman, sales manager for Sly Fox Beer, will be running a special on drafts for their Oktoberfest draft as well. A perfect pairing for the Caseta. Food will be appropriate fare. I don't know what the hell that means. Bill, you need to dumb it down a little bit.
It'll be German
Appropriate
food.
fare.
It's
Yeah.
going to be German food.
I mean,
There's going to be red cabbage.
just tell them the truth. It's
Come on,
gonna
Billy.
be a sausage fest.
Yeah, but that's not always bad. Like, I feel like you're saying that like
Says-
it's always a terrible thing.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
Oktoberfest, isn't that a lot of sausage?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like brats are good, man. I'm a brat.
I'm gonna
man.
go back and clip that out of the audio and use that
No.
repetitively. Isn't there a
No.
lot of sausage? Saturday, September the 17th, Billy the Kid and the Regulators will play as part of the Summer Deck concert series at Leaning House Fine Cigars. Also in the house will be our main man, Lee Marsh of Stolen Throne
Yeah.
Cigars. Reservations for the Upper Deck are highly recommended. The cigar event kicks off at 4 p.m. while the music starts at 6 p.m. There's a $10 cover and $5 if you want to BYOB.
I just want to clarify that the way you said upper deck R, you definitely just, you gave him an upper decker.
Hey man, it's what I do.
No, I'm for it. And
You
then,
want to read?
No, but I do
Yeah,
want to
because we know how that's going to go.
I do want to clarify that next week on the show, we're going to have Lee Marsh here. He's going to be
accurate.
in the cigar cave.
That's true. And did you make contact? Do you know what we're smoking? Or
No, I have not
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
So
shut up and do
we're
your
gonna
job.
we're gonna smoke a Stolen Throne.
That's very likely.
We know we're gonna smoke one of his cigars, so that's what matters.
What's the company called?
Stolen Thrones. Have you had them yet?
No.
Oh,
Never heard of
bud.
them.
He does. He works with Rojas.
Okay.
I think Rojas makes all his stuff, and
They're-
then Lee blends them. We'll have more clarity next week, but yeah, it's gonna be.
Tune in next week
Rojas
to
is
find
a
out.
Texas boy.
Oh, yeah.
Most of his blends always stay in Texas.
Yeah, well, he's actually a Nicaragua guy now. He's got a factory he just opened.
Oh, big
Yeah.
event. That was all
Yeah.
over the social media for sure. Wednesday, September 14th, Drew Estate Cigars' 6-month to St. Patrick's Day party will be held at Nelson Laguasto Cigar Lounge. There will be Drew Estate cigar deals, tons of swag, and promo cigars, live music, prizes, and Little E's pizza and hoagies, BYOB, and more. So go hang out with our homeboys over at Nelson Lagusto. Tell Fred Finley III I said hello.
Yeah, the one and only.
Well, he's not the one and only.
I know, but he
is.
commented
He
on
did
it.
say
Like,
that. He
come on,
calls
bro.
himself the one and only, but it sounds like he's kind of the third one.
Something.
I don't know if he has kids, but there could be a fourth out there too. I mean,
And that's a retailer?
Yeah, Nelson Laguastos is out of Greensburg, Pennsylvania. Really good people. They're getting ready to open.
Do you know if they're already set up with CFW yet?
I don't know, but we can make that happen.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing any stickers there, but Corey's a hell of a salesman.
Yeah, I know like 3 people, and man, I can hook you up with them 3. we normally have like 6 or 7 listeners, but they're actually all at a karaoke event right now that one of our other listeners was kind enough to schedule during our show. So, but like I said, you want 3 people buying your product, I'm your guy all over the place. I will make it happen.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you and I talked briefly. I kind of want to go over because I figure we might as well do it here in case any other retailers are interested. So I'm opening a lounge that eventually, at some point during the next decade, will be open.
You're
And,
finally getting realistic. I appreciate that about you.
Dude, you have no idea about what happened today. It was just hell. Did you notice that I was not in my vehicle today?
Well, you told me you were driving the truck.
No, not my truck.
You said a truck.
No, yeah, it's not even my truck.
Okay.
I had to go borrow my daddy's truck at 40 years old. I had to go borrow my dad's truck because the brakes just didn't want to let the truck turn today. So it's been an interesting one, but it's been a whole day of that. But I wanted to kind of ask, like, what is so I'm a new retailer. I don't know. I understand what you do and like what your end game is. So I want to kind of ask you 2 questions at once is what is the end user experience for CFW? So like me as a E3 in Iraq right now, what do I have to do to get signed up with CFW? And then my second question is going to be me as a new retailer. What do I need to do to get set up with CFW and why?
Well, let me do it in order. So I just tell you the whole process as short as I can. And the retail side, you become an official donation. You have to get a hold of us. Typically, our executive administrative assistant, Paul Hinman. He will hook you up with a letter of understanding.
How do we get a hold of him?
I'm actually already set up.
No, I know that, but I'm doing
Paul.
this for the listeners.
Okay, yeah.
Paul.Hinman at cigarsforwarriors.org, .net. Any of the volunteers for CFW is first name, period, last name. And then cigarsforwarriors.net. At that point, he will give you a letter of understanding. Once you get the materials we send you, he or she, the shop puts out a minimum of 150 count humidor. Smart people do a lot bigger than that. and then they'll put our signage out. Once they take a picture, send it to us, they become an official donation. So once a month, whatever donations are put in the humidor get shipped to us by the shop. No volunteer is ever allowed to walk in to a store and take the products. We used to do that in the early years. As the CEO, even that made me uncomfortable. So there's only two people allowed to do that in the whole charity. And that's Peter Taro out of New Jersey and Robert Allen out of Florida, as are their two distribution points. So all the 596 donation centers in the United States and one in Guam, they will send them to Florida once a month. Now, typically what happens, you got some guys who do it every 2 months. Some guys are embarrassed. They only have 10 sticks, so they wait till they have 20 sticks, they'll send it. But the goal is every month. You want to do it once a month because it's more marketing. Because once Robert gets it on his end, and if you're smart and you have an event coordinator dedicated to your store, which is always, we recommend one of the guys that's always in your shop. There's always going to be 2 or 3 people there that are there 4 out of 7 days a week. You like one of them, you trust one of them, see if they want to be a CFW volunteer. They have to do a little application, a little interview. Now they're your inside guide to the charity. They're the way you can justify knowing that the charity's doing you right. It's always important. Do your due diligence. This event coordinator now will help you do, work with events, have a table set up. They can help you with social media. In other words, make you more money. In the game, you guys are making more money. CFW is getting our donations naturally. If that makes sense. We want our shops to do great. We want them to be enthusiastic, the original ideas, come up with fundraisers. But even a normal event, if the shop owner or manager does it right, can make them a ton of money. I've seen small stores and an event had donated over 700 cigars. That's not even counting the whole cigars that walked out of the store. So just do the math in your head as a retailer. Now, some events you may get 10. It just depends. But you really want a volunteer that's there that you already know. For us, it's a volunteer that we know won't disappear because it does happen. You get volunteers who start out good or they get embarrassed if they don't do anything and they just disappear on you. That happens more often than you can imagine.
Maybe I should volunteer. People are always asking me to disappear and I refuse to do it. I feel like I'd be a good fit there. And just to clarify too, I'm going to go ahead and put all your website information in the description of this episode so that if somebody does want to check you guys out and start to follow the path of finding out how to develop the relationship, you can do it through the description of the podcast or the YouTube video.
Yeah, and I want to clarify that Just the Tip is going to be a CFW location, so we'll be taking volunteers and signing you guys up for that.
I got a marketing request. Can he be for CFFWs, Cigars for Fucking Warriors? Because that fits our brand a little bit better.
Well, that fits everybody's brand, trust me.
Sorry, go ahead, brother.
Every guy or gal has ever served, it's our brand.
That's right,
so,
brother.
Once the shops have the donations, they ship them to Florida. We do that because we don't want anybody confused by shipping them to either or. When they get to Florida, Robert's on the board of directors. He is our second chief of logistics. He gets the emails, in fact, from the troops. Once that email comes into Robert, first off, he looks at it with location. We only send to combat zones and long-term deployments. And let's just call it what it is, shitty locations.
Yep.
If you're in Europe, in Germany, France, England, you're not going to get a cigar from us. If you're in the Middle East, which is still over 36,000 troops in the Middle East alone, you're probably going to get something from us. If you're in Africa,
so for all the
we label that for us a combat zone because that's a shitty deployment. No matter what branch you are. We actually had 2 Space Force guys. We just sent to products to Africa.
So for all the Air Force guys, I got to ask: you're not sending them to Guam, then? You're not sending them to Hawaii? Are you sure?
Yes, because we actually have shops there.
One of those guys work from home anyway, just flying the drones, right?
Oh, dude, the Guam guys. Sorry, go ahead. I'll come back to that.
Oh, the Guam guys are having a good time.
Oh, they cracked me up though.
We actually that was like our 5th donation center was in Guam.
Really? That's awesome.
Alice Tucker, he was in Air Force. And he was our event coordinator. Now he's in Okinawa. He's just lived such a rough life.
Oh, he's had the hard life, huh? Okinawa and
So,
Guam.
Robert gets them. He sends all the names, addresses to our military liaison director. She is a major in active duty and operations, S3 shop. She's able to verify each of the requests that they're U.S. military, number one. And number two, it's a valid location for us to send it to. And that's very important. No other charity can do that because, quite frankly, I'm not even sure she's allowed to do that. But
Shh,
you know,
don't
we've
say.
had 4 military liaisons, and all 4 of them been given, permission by upper echelon. And at the end of the day, people don't realize this because an APO does not mean it's a U.S. service member.
Mhm.
It could be one of our allies. It could be NATO. It could be UN. It could be contractors. And as much as I love the contractors, those guys are making, $250,000
Oh,
tax
yeah.
free. They can buy their Cubans all day long. Now, once that soldier gets, I say soldier, I mean once a trooper gets his package, he or she can pass their products to anybody they want to. It's theirs to do whatever they want. So once we're verified, Robert gets it, he ships it. Now we do festivals all the time. We do, as you heard, golf tournaments. I run a thing called Cats Festival, which is the only cigar and craft beer festival in the United States. And these special events like the Barn Smokers, those all go to New Jersey to Peter Taro's house. And he gets half of the request from Robert, and he ships. So it's a lot of checks and balances. Those two guys are the only ones ever allowed to walk out of the store. We did that because we've had individuals, 3 that we know of, that played their big coordinators and walked out with all the donations from different shops.
We call those
One of them was
pieces
in
of shit.
El Paso, and I called the command sergeant major of the school. Basically, El Paso Fort Bliss is TRADOC, which is all military training being written up there. Well, the guy who runs it, trust me, has got a lot of pull. So they were able to take a video of this guy. They found him very, very quickly. The sergeant that was a police officer, they caught the case. He calls me, asked me, he said, there's 239 cigars stolen. Do you know the value of them? A shop owner does. I said, yeah, I know the value of every single one of them. He's like, really? I said, yeah, by heart. He goes, are you sure? I said, 100% the value of each of them is $500 a stick.
Yep.
He said, they cost that much? No. You said, what is the value of them?
Yep.
If that value is someone's going to get a cigar in a combat zone, a long-term deployment, it could be one of the things that keeps their minds from going left when they get home. It's a distressor. You can see the value of it, can you not? He goes, I was in the Army not even 4 years ago, and I understand exactly what you're saying. He goes, this guy is going to get, incarcerated. I said, well, if you lose the paperwork for about 2 weeks for he can get bail, wouldn't hurt my feelings. About 7 weeks later, he calls. He goes, he still hasn't seen a judge yet.
Good on you, man. That's how it should be.
Well, it's not how it should be. You shouldn't have had to
My
do
wife
that.
goes,
Right.
do you not feel bad about that? No. I mean, you stealing from the combat guys, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
And I'm demented, I'm fucked up, but that's just wrong.
Yep.
So that's pretty much the deal. That's a very simplistic way of looking at it. These shops are really our meat and potatoes. Used to be the manufacturers. There are still manufacturers like Avante and a few others who just don't give a shit, and they send to us anyway. Some of them pretty smart. They get a retailer license, a new name company, so they ship us a $20,000 check. They say, "Hey, we got a great deal for you, Storm. For $19,998, we can get you 42,000 sticks, and we're gonna throw a bunch in there for free."
Yep.
That's a hell of a deal. In fact, yesterday I got a $20,000 check. So, by the book, we didn't do anything against FDA.
Yep.
And most of the manufacturers are realizing that what I've been telling from day one is they're never going to be able to fund this project with FDA. It's never going to happen. Most of the stuff off the original 2016, the judges have already stepped it down or off of it. pretty much the S chip value is the only thing that's still sitting there. And of course, the good thing is there is a new cigar caucus in Washington, D.C. It's got 36 members.
Yep.
We are a high priority of getting our bill. It's already, right now, the congressman out of Pennsylvania, he's the chairman. He's personally looking for a sponsor, multiple sponsors for our bill, frankly, just to say there's an exemption for military.
Nice.
The negative thing about it is we're not going to ask for the military exemption like Texas has. If you're 18 or if you're in the military and you have an ID, you can buy tobacco. You don't have to be 21.
Oh, wow.
We're kind of a sanctuary. Now, it depends on the store. They can do it or not. Once we get that bill done, that is the next thing I'm going to go after, because I was part of a 5-man team that did the Texas thing when they were trying to make the whole state 21 or older smoke. We got military exemption. And then Trump, out of nowhere, 3 months later, did that backroom bill, and the whole country was at 21 years. I mean, no one saw it. That's the gist of everything. We got a lot of moving parts, as you can imagine.
All right, so I'm going to hit you with 2 random questions, then I'm going to wrap back to the end user kind of CFW thing. What is your favorite pastime other than smoking cigars and that giant collection of beautiful alcohol that you have behind you?
Alcohol has become very important these days, especially since COVID.
I said other than for a reason.
I love reading books still, not as much as I used to. You can imagine with the after effects of too many combat zones, reading becomes a little bit more difficult, but I still enjoy it. Video games when I have the time, which is not always. I got a beautiful Xbox, and I got about 200 games on that damn thing, and I get about 2 hours a month to play it.
I know that feeling.
COVID, I started binge watching, which is something I used to talk shit about everybody who watched TV more than they did anything. And, tell them they're getting their brains sucked out. And then me and my wife found out we were binge watching more than anything during COVID. I was on meetings with the TV going on, so I wouldn't miss anything.
It's all fun and games until you get to the final season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, let's just never talk about that again.
I'm still pissed off about that shit.
That's not okay.
He still hasn't written the final book. He wrote a whole nother book, so he has another TV series.
And they call Cigars the great equalizer.
Oh,
hating the final season of Game of Thrones, I think, is even better.
Right? And then
I like how you said that, because that has been the first philosophy we've had from day one. Cigars and everything we do is an equalizer. Doesn't matter your background, doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, in between something, poor, rich, in between that. Everybody's inclusive. In our charity, it is highly inclusive, to the point that there is a website called, oh my God, my brain just died again. There's 2 websites, Canon.com and their sister group. And any other minute of the day, I could tell you exactly what it is. They are the premier watchdog groups of all nonprofits. That includes churches and state nonprofits. A little over 3.7 million as of last year. To get on the website in a good way is very hard. Wounded Warriors, they're the one that broke out about how bad Wounded Warriors were 2016. I don't know if y'all guys ever heard all that stuff that went on.
No.
Basically, like half a penny was going to the troops. Of every dollar. So to get up there, you got bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. GuideStar.org. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of transparency. They want to know where every single cent that you spend is going to. They want to know about salaries, since we have those salaries. We made it to platinum status. We've been there for 6 years. Platinum basically means less than 0.5% of the country's nonprofits ever make it to that point.
Good.
So we always say we're the most non-politically correct charity on the planet, but we're the most transparent of how we spend your money.
You guys
how we
do
spend
it right.
your dollar that you donated.
For sure.
It's something very important to all of us. Very conscientious about it. Very big on checks and balances. There's a lot of NCOs, the board, and us NCOs. We always have, how can we beat this system?
Yep.
And once we beat it, we figure out how to build the checks and balances to it. That's the overall. So I think I actually did a CFW plug in the middle of that.
No,
Well,
it
that's
was good. It was good.
what this whole show should
That is
be.
why we are here today.
If
Look,
if
this is
you
not
take away,
this is not a Cigar Junkies podcast. This
No.
is a CFW podcast.
if you
today,
take
man.
away anything from this episode, the most two important organizations as a cigar smoker to me that you should be supporting, in whatever order you want to put them in, is Cigars for Warriors and the cigarrights.org.
Yeah.
Because those are the people taking care of the things on the other end to keep them from taking the rights away from us, so that we can continue to support organizations like yours. And the other than being an equalizer and being inclusive, the other thing about the cigar community is they're very generous. How many times, even apart from a charitable situation, you go into a cigar lounge and you'll see somebody hand an expensive cigar to somebody they don't know and just say, "Here, try this." That is, I think, what really took me from going, okay, this is kind of like a cool hobby thing to do socially, to full blown jumping in with both feet, was just the people that are in this community. They're some of the most generous people on the planet, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you have an incredibly easy job comparatively, because cigar folks are great people and they want to help other people. They want to get other people involved all the time. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it's easy what you do, but
Kind of sounded like it to me.
But compared to a lot of other charity kind of stuff, anybody who's cigar related wants to help somebody somewhere or another, from my experience. Like, you walk into a lounge, someone's going to hook somebody up while you're there if you're there for 2-3 hours. Like, it just always happens. Somebody always ends up. I mean, we have, regulars on our show that when they walk into a lounge, they bring a barrel with them of cigars, and they open it when they walk in, and you just see them like this the whole time, just handing them out. And you,
No, for sure.
I mean, Dave and Patty, they are the most giving people, and they're the extreme version of what we're talking about. But if you need a cigar, just ask somebody, like, because we all appreciate what it gives us, and the relaxation, the equalization, and the mental break from it all that you get from just smoking a stick. I love it, man.
And the great bribes with contractors come to your house.
Oh yeah. Oh, but
Every
I'm building a
contractor that
shop.
walked in my house.
I'm building a shop. I am very aware of that one.
That was one of the things my dad tried to sell me the cigar lifestyle with whenever he was starting to get in, and I hadn't crossed the line yet. And he was like, "Man, I buy all these cigars online, and like the ones that I don't like, they're cheap sticks. I hand them out to people that I meet, and they look at you like you handed them $100 bill." And my dad doesn't quite do it right. I don't know if you should save the cheap, junkiest sticks that you hate to give out to people. In most cases, it's, "Hey, I love this. Maybe you'll love it too. Give it a shot," because you want to share the things that you enjoy with like-minded people.
Yep.
But, you could do it on a budget.
When I started the organization Cats, it was the first social media that was non-fanboy of one manufacturer, non-fanboy of a retailer. It was inclusive of all brands, even though there's a lot of people came from the Drew Estate communities. And, of course, we wanted women. There was another big thing that nobody in 2011, 2012 wanted in their shops, wanted on their social media, was women smokers. I was like, that's insane. I don't want sausage fest, as we said earlier. Not to mention is women have a significantly better palate than men do. They have 32 million more olfactory senses than we do.
Which is why our smells bother them more.
Yeah, but look at Sin and Josh from Dissident. I mean, Sin does everything, and Josh is just like, "I'm here to help." Hey, I mean, he said that in the last interview we had.
So I'm Sin.
What's that?
I'm Sin of us.
You've got the palate?
No, I do everything.
No, Sin has the palate.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah,
Fair enough.
But no, I mean,
have no palate.
women absolutely do. Like you said, it's That's one of the reasons, one of my main focuses from opening my shop is I want 30 air changes per hour. And like, that's going to be my norm.
Going back a little bit what you said earlier about how people just do, and I started a thing called giving bombs away, and everybody got on my ass saying we're gonna have the CIA or FBI looking at us because we're saying bombs on social media. But we started doing it, and everybody was. The thing was to find someone who'd never been bombed before and send them 5, 10, 15 cigars
Nice.
out of nowhere. And I love doing that. And one of the things I love doing was putting 2 cigars out of whatever I do. I always put a Tatiana Mocha because everybody made fun of it. And I always put a Sweet Jane because that's my favorite cigar and always will be. And even if it isn't, it's always going to be, when I say it publicly, it's going to be my favorite cigar. He's got in trouble with everybody. And I love it because these guys start texting me, thank you for the package, blah, blah. By the way, don't tell anybody, but I love that damn Tatiana Mocha. And I just always got a kick out of it because nobody want to know anybody knew it and liked it. It's cheap ass flavored cigar.
Yeah.
And I was a big proponent about smoke what you like, not what other people like.
Ask for every seat, baby.
Yeah. I give, so if a guy comes into the shop and he doesn't know what he wants, I lean him towards, like depending on, I go too many thousand different ways, but if you want something flavored, I lean him towards the Tatiana, either the Mocha or I can't remember, the Cafe. If a woman comes in, I hand her a Groovy Blue. I don't know what it is about the smell of Groovy Blue, but I have like a 95% success rate with that with women. Like I hand them that and they're like, we're going to take this too. Well, she doesn't smoke. Well, smell this real quick for me. And they just,
your Sweet Jane, the Sweet Jane is the closest cigar you're going to get to a pipe tobacco that's aromatic. So if you're adding with your family that smoked pipes and it had a lot of good memories behind it, immediately you smell. My wife, she loves it when I light them up. They're just good smell. The other one I got hooked on, the reason I got hooked on really big was Tobacco Especial.
There you go.
And I did it because I couldn't taste nothing when I got back. They put you all those drugs the military does. They try to taste something, you can't taste anything. All of a sudden I have a cigar and all of a sudden all these flavors popped out. That was the cigar that got me really, truly hooked. Prior to that, it was always about, when in country, I was trying to think of ways to build a morale. We get hit. I didn't want everybody going corners, especially that 2003 mission. There was a lot of suicides during that mission. It was all about the anticipation of something horrible happening. We spent 9 weeks in Kuwait with them every day taunting us. We're going to get camel gauges on us. We're going to get frog misses on us. We're going to die some way. The Bedouins are badass ninjas. All is the same shit. So I thought about, I will give these guys a cigar and make them smoke it, which is not always kosher to some people when I say that. So I would make my guys smoke a cigar. It was a no blouse, no cover area, which means there's no rain. Once you walk in there, you want to be part of it, there's no rain. My guys knew for the next 2 hours they could say anything they wanted to. Now in my mindset, I was thinking, how could I build a crisis management debriefing? Just like when you do a hostage negotiation. After you're done, you do a debriefing. Well, you know as well as I do, you don't tell a soldier, hey, I want to debrief you. Let's talk about your feelings. 100% shut down.
That's not going to work.
But this way, they could just, given I was called a lot of foreign-letter names, and I accepted that and moved on. And I really, truly think that was the reason my team had such a good morale, even though we were the ones always getting really fucked up because we were trying to build the infrastructure, police, fire departments, and corrections. And I thought it was such a unique experience. Kind of find out I wasn't unique whatsoever. The guy that helped me build this, Ben Edmondson, he actually died while being a treasurer for us. He was an old submariner before Korea, before nuclear power submarines. And he was almost describing the same scenario. They would come up out of the water and get on deck to smoke a cigar for almost the same reason. Commander in the Navy, they're very hardcore about rank structure. and have the commander get on top and say, hey, say whatever you want to say. You see that two different eras, two different combats, two different branches, and the meaning of a cigar is almost identical. That's where all this really started. And it was just funny. I just thought it was so unique, and it wasn't. And to this day, there weren't really a lot of any clubs I knew of in the military. 2012. Since then, a lot of people don't realize there are hundreds of military cigar clubs. There are clubs that are all Navy. There's clubs that are all NCOs. There's clubs that are all military. It doesn't matter if you're NATO or not. And there's some clubs that have contractors, and they have hundreds of chapters, 5 chapters, 10 chapters. And the first one you was out of Army was Taliban Cigar Club. That's how warped Army guys are. They called it the Taliban Cigar Club. So that was, just seeing the dynamic of all that changing and realizing the military guys are the biggest clients of cigars. In the United States, you got a slight curve up. In the military, you got it straight up in there because all 5 branches, 6 branches have pushed no more cigarettes, no more snuff.
Yeah. I know.
But you don't touch cigars because there's so many traditions.
It sounds to me like if you
Go
boil down what Cigars for Warriors does, is you take that anxiety of, hey, what's going to kill me, and you redirect it into their biggest anxiety being, am I going to run out of cigars?
Yeah. Honestly, it's about turning it off for an hour to 2 hours. Because, dude, sorry, go ahead. I'll tell you this story afterwards. But it's
no,
that
you're right. I mean, you gotta get out of that space. And too many people dwell in the space. Too many of us that we're very anal about every detail. It's hard to get out of that space. You got to figure out a way to think about something else or care about something else while on mission. And that was the biggest thing I try to teach my guys. Is missions are not always. I'm a firm believer that even though you're taught missions first, troops second. All day long, I would scrub the mission over protecting my guys. Had no issue with it. I think emotion that came to it, and I was pretty well known for getting very aggressively loud about that. Because some missions that some of these officers came up with were insanity, So, and we actually became a lot more. We were able to gain a lot more tolerant from other battalion commanders and their S shops because we always had to go to a battalion to get supported. When we started doing the cigar thing, because now we're creating a better environment, open footing it. It was amazing that we won the hearts and minds of the soldiers we got attached to for that whatever mission. But anyway, the end of the day is you're right. We have a doctor actually put out a psychologist. The mental health benefits outweighs any potential health risk. Smoking a cigar in combat.
Yep.
And I can't remember anything else, but I always remember that line. Very proud of that line. It's on our 501c3 paperwork. We push it everywhere. So most guys in military, police, corrections all understand that. Yeah, go ahead with your story.
No, it's not even cigar related. So I'll keep it as brief as I can. There was a Greek couple that worked as contractors on base in Kandahar. And we came back and it was a bad time. My buddy's like, hey, you got to come have dinner with me. What do you mean I got to have dinner with you? Come with me. So we walk over to this place and we open like a privacy fence and they've got AstroTurf set up. They got picnic benches and this couple cooks for everybody. That's not their job. They're not there for that. But they just do this and they do it for the American soldiers. Airmen, sailors, whatever you are, like anyone's welcome. And man, when they closed that privacy fence, I remember just this feeling of like, I'm home. Like it's a barbecue. The fence is like 9 feet high. So all you see is the skyline. You can't see the mountain range because you've been to Kandahar. There's a mountain on either side that somebody's shooting at you from. It's terrible. That's gone. And you're sitting there and you're getting ready to eat dinner, just sitting at a picnic bench, smoking, chilling, just relaxing. And I remember actually just starting to cry. And I'm like, why am I crying? Like what is going on? It was just all the stress. Just it was gone for 2 hours, and I see that, you know, with the cigars, like doing the same thing. Like it's 2 hours of I'm good. I don't have this is my focus. Like right now, this is my focus for the next 2 hours. Let everything else go. Why? I'm just going to enjoy
called
this.
it a great reset. Doesn't matter if you're military, doesn't matter if you're a business guy, doesn't matter if you're a contractor or gift digger. Smoking a cigar is a great reset.
Yeah.
We all have fucked up days. A lot of us have every day is fucked up. You know, you got to create that reset. If you don't, it's going to come out one way or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. Rage, or that's what, like I said, like I was so surprised. Like I'm randomly crying. Like, wait, what is, like, I'm not sad. I'm not overly happy. I don't like what, I'm not a crier to begin with. Like I don't have allergies. Like what is going, oh, I'm actually just not worrying about anything for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour. It's amazing what that can do for you. And that was an extreme version of it. I went from high stress to that quickly. But like a cigar is a nice constant feed to yourself of that same sensation, as long as you take the time to look at it that way. Think about what you're smoking. You don't have to analyze, like you said, like you're not a flavor profile guy. You're not going to sit there and tell me what cow it was out of the 32 that it tastes like, that, you know, his leather. But you just have to enjoy the fact that you're sitting there thinking about the cigar, enjoying that farm, enjoying that Lajero from that day or whatever, and just enjoy that moment of 300 hands made this for me to enjoy.
Absolutely. And we like to welcome new members to our Cigar Junkies Facebook group every week that joined during that past 7 days. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try something new. This is just off the top of my head in the last 30 seconds I thought about this. So I think this might be the introduction to our segment here. And it goes something like this. Wait, are you guys junkies? We got to work on the volume. Yeah. The Zoom thing.
We got to make it a thing now.
Yeah, I think it'll work.
Yeah.
So we want to welcome the Loomis Cigar Cartel, Corojo Cigars and Lounge, Greg Corday, Kelsey H. Dallas, Vernon Goodchild, Weakfish, Smokin' Riders, Jonathan David. Who else is on here? It's all kind of mixed up because we got it. I do think that's everybody. Jonathan David was the one addition here that wasn't on the page, so I wanted to make sure that I got him too. Thank you guys so much for joining the Facebook group and getting involved in the community with us. And I don't know if you know this or not, Storm, but we have a little thing that we call the participation trophy of the week that we like to do here at the Cigar Junkies for people that actively engage in the social media or other things. And I don't think personally there's anybody else that represents a good participant for the cigar community than yourself. So we are going to give the Golden Grasshopper Award to Storm Bone this week because he embodies the spirit of the cigar community by generously giving of himself and his resources to other people to try to help them. And if there's anything that I can tell people at home listening to this is to try to embody the spirit of people like you, and just share with other people. So thank you for everything that you do, and thank you for coming and hanging out with us this week. It's a great honor to have you.
Well, I figured the more good I do, to wipe out some of those bad things I've done. So, there's always a selfish point for all this. We all go through different times. One of the things that was really unique about when we started this, several of us had different points of our lives that were very embarrassing, very legal struggles, whatever you want to call it. And the charity was a second chance for a lot of us. For me, it was like a third chance in a way that I could keep on keeping the military in my life, keep on serving. And one of the hardest things, it's going to sound funny, I do a lot of speeches every year for different variety of, cigars, from cigars to positive thinking speeches, whatever. 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, I did one for my old unit. And I'd never been nervous before doing a speech. And pretty much one of the scariest things I've ever done was doing a speech in front of your peers.
Yep.
who've all been around or all seen, or a lot of them know the absolute worst who've been around, ever done. And it's one of the things I always think about the military is that you can know the worst, but you always think of the best of that person. And I think the cigar community really identifies with that same philosophy as that we did, especially NCOs. I had a lot of, I had a few great officers. I will always say, one of them sounds like the guy that got on with you is Greg Cordray. He was a colonel. He was a major when I worked with him. He was the first guy that on a deployment that gave me a cigar. In those days, we didn't really know what we were doing with the cigars. We were smoking them, pretending like we were doing a ride, trying to smoke it like a cigarette. A lot of traditions around that. Go to the cigar bar right before you leave. Again, you buy the biggest cigar because it's $2 versus that $12 cigar that's like that. So you're going to buy that big one. So I guess what I'm trying to say is in your life, we all have big ups and downs. We all have resets. Find your reset, and nothing's ever too late. Cigars community is a great way of doing that reset because it's every facet of life is in this community. And I like to think that CFW, the philosophy is pretty much identical.
Well, the one thing that all human beings have in common is that we've all done bad things. And there's a scale to it. Some have done worse than others. But I think the truly great people are the ones that devote their lives to the service of trying to balance those scales and to try to do more good than they do bad, and to have that self-awareness. And so, you can't take back the past, but man, you can choose what to do with the future. And I think you're killing it. So
yeah, dude, absolutely. We'll get you sent over your golden cricket, which is a
the golden grasshopper award. There's actually an animation for that.
Yeah.
Weakfish has made that for us. So you get your certification.
Yeah, it'll be sent over to you. I'm not a cricket bro, and yeah.
Cricket or grasshopper?
Well,
that's a key distinction.
All right, so Sam's kind of tripping over his ideology here. I had this lovely cricket sounds button that I would push when he makes a bad joke. And his response was always, "I'm not a cricket, bro.
I'm not a cricket."
And so my brain, as crooked and tangled up as it is, takes that and goes, "What if we did, some sort of graphic for a cigar, to represent the junkies? We call it the 'I'm not a cricket, bro,' and it was a grasshopper because he's not a cricket, And so that eventually evolved into the Golden Grasshopper Trophy for the participant of the week, because I like to play around with that.
We like to have fun.
Participation trophy that we all like to think of as it's kind of a thing that's killing the culture of this country a little bit. So I embraced the uselessness of it and applied it to our podcast. So,
if it's not deep, it's great.
That's it.
As you said, the culture these days has gone way too deep on the far end of the pool, and it's nice seeing things turn around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The cigar industry got a little silly for a while. I'm very I didn't really ever like the former owner of Gurkha.
Oh yeah.
All the what I'm saying.
Just muted him.
I didn't touch anything.
Somebody muted you. Storm, I lost you.
Maybe his earbuds died.
My earbuds keep down, so I'm switching them left and right.
There you go.
Put them back in the battery case.
That's what happens when you're the technical guy. Everybody blames you for every problem.
Well, you stood up at the same time. What do you want me to do? Huh?
See, watching Gurkha get slammed like that, I don't know if I ever actually read what he actually said, but he was always, made some stupid cracks. The fact that he said something and lost his company just really upset me, because I believe that, freedom of speech is why, we went and did shit. We served our country so people could really talk shit. Yeah. And watching that, just, that watching that, our industry guys, take on this new personality that our country had adopted for a year or two. And the reality is, we all know it's only about 5-6% of the country that was doing it. The other 94% were like, turning the TV off and shaking their heads.
A vocal minority, they can do some damage, can't they?
The squeaky wheel, right?
Yeah. And that comes back to the saying too. It's funny that you say that, because I always thought the squeaky wheel gets the grease, but someone once told me maybe the squeaky wheel just needs to get replaced.
There it is. But like he said, everybody's got an equal shot. Everybody gets an equal voice, as long as we keep it as an equal voice. You want to try and be louder than everybody else, the majority should go, shh, come down with us. Let's talk about it. Let's not yell. Let's not fight. The same as I tell my triplets when they're having a fight. Let's have a conversation. Like, you're 5. Talk about it with each other. Then come get mom or dad.
We have a tendency to talk a lot about freedom of speech in this country, and I think that that's a very important thing. But there's also the freedom to listen.
Hey.
If you don't like it, don't listen.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's it.
Yeah. The problem is, I think that creates the echo chambers, which created the problem. I think the freedom to listen to only what you want to listen to partially created the problem. That being said, I love our country. We are who we are. We get to randomly start a podcast with a guy who threw a message up on Facebook. What was it, like 2 weeks after you posted it? We were doing this.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, there was we just do things here in America. I love that.
I don't know if this is the best example. I mean, we could do things, just not, not to a quality.
It was started by, 10 of us, 7 of us, but me and Ben Edmondson, who both of us had some pretty fucked up backgrounds, to do something good, get that big second chance. And, you said it right. I think, end of the day, people remember that they need to turn the channel.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem was that during COVID, people all of a sudden had money they never had before, and a lot more freedom of time to do with something. So let's go to the streets and do stupid shit. But other than that, it's my politics for the whole night.
Yeah, we try and stay politically neutral here. And we run a really close theory to you, which is we have a grading scale that we change all the time, but we have a grading scale here at the Junkies. But the worst thing you can get on our grading scale is not for me. It's not for me. It's good, but it's not for me. Because like you said, these cigars are somebody's passion when they make them. Somebody loves this cigar. Somebody loves that cigar. I might think it's gross. That's okay. It's different taste. And I think that comes back to what we're saying is, because it's not what you want to talk about politically, doesn't mean it's wrong. It means that the group that you're in, if you live in this small town and everyone in that town thinks that X, Y, and Z, doesn't mean that everybody around that town thinks it. And I love that reflection of the cigar industry and that political at the same time. This is equal, as long as, and most people have that.
I had a priest once tell me, and I'm not Catholic, by the way. My wife is, and he told me something always stuck in my head. So why people like arguing politics and religion? Okay, a lot of things came in my head that wasn't appropriate, so I didn't say it. And he goes, because there's no such thing as a right answer, and everybody can argue their answer is the right answer.
Mm-hmm.
It makes them feel empowered, and sometimes it becomes a sick thing that gets in their head. They have to just keep going. And that stuck to me, and I was 15 or 16 when I heard that, and I've never forgotten that. And to this day, it's true. When we started Cats, it was the biggest 2 roles was respect, number 1, everybody. Number 2, no politics or religion. If you get those 3 things, you got a perfect society.
No, and that's it, right? Like,
hard to argue with it.
Yeah, it's politics and religion are good things, but they're not.
The second one maybe more than the first one, if I had to weigh them out. But the thing is, you're not going to change somebody else's beliefs. You can't change your own beliefs. Only your experiences can change your beliefs, right? You can't just be like, no, you know what? I think I do want to believe in Buddha. That shit makes a lot of sense. Like, you can walk around and tell people that you do, but something has to happen inside of you to change a belief. So if you want to change somebody's beliefs, You're not going to do it with a conversation. You could do it with actions. You can change how somebody feels about a community, about a race, about a lot of different things by your actions, because they can go, oh wow, like I can't believe they did that for me, or I can't believe you did that to me. That is how you change somebody's beliefs. But you're not going to do it with a conversation, so why bother stoking the fire, right?
I mostly agree with you on that. I think if people would practice active listening instead of active talking, then you could change. Because look, I just want to hear what you have to say, and I want you to hear what I have to say, and then we can walk away from each other. And I don't hate you or love you for the conversation. I heard you, you heard me. It was a fair exchange. I just heard somebody say it the other day. Every conversation should be a tennis match. I give you some information, you give it back to me. Now, when I hear it come back to me, I have my interpretation of it. Then I give it back to you, and I tell you what my interpretation of your interpretation is to me. And we exchange that information back and forth, and we filter it. And at the end, we can still disagree, but that's okay. There doesn't have to be a winner. It just is.
I want to. I want to tear this
I'm
too far.
probably John McEnroe tennis fan when you're talking about discussions. I enjoy arguing more than anything. Problem is, most people don't enjoy the arguing itself.
Right.
When people try to, I'm very big about, hey, let's not talk about that, or hey, I'll throw another answer off. Basically saying, let's not talk about this. And they keep coming at you. Even if something I 100% agree with what they're saying, I'll take the opposite side and put a hell of a fight on.
Devil's advocate for sure.
I love to argue as long as we can maintain this tone while we do it. You get passionate about it, bro. Keep emotions out. Like, this is a logic argument.
Right.
Now, you want to have a passion argument, call someone else.
But your whole ideology there had a paradox in it. And I don't know if you catch that or not. But when you have a problem with people that don't actively listen, I don't know how you're going to convince them to if they're not listening to you. And
that's when you just walk away. And that's what that 5 or 6% that's creating all these problems is.
See, in my mind, that's when you become John McEnroe. It really.
you can play tennis and slam it down their throat. Yeah, for sure.
Just
be Serena Williams and just grand slam it all day long.
How did she do? I didn't watch any of it.
The last batch I watched her, she actually destroyed the chick that everybody told her that she was going to beat. It was a younger girl who was going to destroy Serena Williams, and
nobody's going to destroy. I did receive the participation trophy, and you have been tagged in it, sir. So it is out there.
Oh yeah, you're gonna enjoy it.
You're gonna enjoy the grasshopper.
So as we approach the 2.5 hour mark of this show, I want to take the time to thank you again for joining us tonight and spending some time educating us about your experiences. And I hope that the people that are checking this podcast out will go and check out your information in your website and support the retailers that support you. You can check in with us next week when we're going to be smoking what, Sam?
Stolen Thrones.
That's it. So, we don't know which one yet, but it's. I was hoping you'd say the name because I'm not sure if I remember. Lee Marsh of Stolen Thrones will be on the show with us next week, so we know we're going to smoke one of his cigars. So that narrows it down to 4, and we've already smoked 2 of them on the show. So chances are pretty good it's going to be the Call to Arms or the new. I don't remember something about
Queen,
a queen.
Some queen.
Dancing queen.
But we're going to roll out, Storm. Just hang in there. We'll catch you for the after a little bit.
That's it. Thank you guys for listening. Remember, you can check us out on patreon.com/the Cigar Junkies podcast. You can get our t-shirts at thegalaxyboutique.com and use the code Junkies for free shipping site-wide.
Salud.
See you guys. Thanks for joining.